Welcome to this special compilation of the most mind-blowing facts you've ever heard. From unbelievable historical moments to things that sound too crazy to be true, we've gathered the best for you. Sit back, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive in.
From cosmic explosions that changed Earth's atmosphere to everyday things like the truth behind brown and white eggs, get ready for some surprises. Let's explore the wonders of space, science, and our own bodies. Oh, and keep an eye out. There's a random word hidden somewhere in this video. The first person to comment it in the description will get a shout out in the next video. Let's not delay any more time. Cats purring is more than just a sign of happiness. The low-frequency vibrations of their purrs are believed to help them heal. These vibrations can strengthen bones, repair muscles, and even reduce pain. Scientists think this is why cats recover quickly from injuries. It's like they have a built-in healing mechanism, making them even more special. In 2011, a diving team exploring the northern Baltic Sea stumbled upon something strange at the bottom, a massive object that defied explanation. When photos of the structure surfaced, many speculated it could be a sunken spaceship from an ancient civilization. Others believed natural forces had shaped it, but the metals found inside seemed impossible to form naturally. Some scientists think the object might date back to the Ice Age, possibly a meteorite trapped under ancient ice. A maelstrom is a powerful whirlpool formed when two currents collide, creating a swirling vortex. Even the fearless Vikings feared these deadly forces, as they could sink large ships with ease. Today's massive modern ships are usually safe from maelstroms, but cruise ships caught in one can face enormous waves that violently rock the vessel. In extreme cases, a maelstrom can act like an underwater black hole. These underwater black holes, much like their cosmic counterparts, are compact vortices so strong that they trap anything entering their grip. Some can stretch up to 93 miles in diameter, and their boundaries are nearly impossible to detect. If you found yourself in one, you might not even realize it, as the powerful swirling forces pull everything in. Even here on Earth, nature mirrors the mysteries of the universe. If you're ever at the beach around sunset or sunrise, keep an eye out for a fascinating phenomenon called the green flash. For just a second or two, the upper rim of the sun may appear green as it dips below the horizon. This happens because light refracts through the thick layers of the atmosphere, dispersing colors. For the best chance to see this fleeting event, wait for a clear day with no clouds or haze. Imagine going to the beach for a swim and finding the ocean water turned red. In places like Florida, this could mean a red tide is in effect. This happens when microscopic algae grow in high concentrations, turning the water red. While most algae are harmless and even vital for oxygen production, some species in red tides release neurotoxins that harm marine life, including fish, sea turtles, and seabirds. These toxins can also affect humans, especially those with respiratory issues, so it's best to avoid red tide areas when winds push algae toward the shore. Volcanoes on land are dangerous enough with their ash clouds, lava, and gases, but submarine volcanoes bring their own hazards. Found underwater, they can sometimes be near the surface, where they blast debris, rocks, and steam high above the water. These eruptions may appear suddenly, making them unpredictable and challenging to navigate around. Submarine volcanoes behave differently from land volcanoes because they're surrounded by endless water. When seawater enters active vents, it interacts with lava spreading across the seafloor or flowing into the ocean from land. Lava cools so quickly underwater that it shatters into rubble and sand, leaving behind volcanic debris. Famous black sand beaches like those in Hawaii were formed this way. While lava eruptions are dramatic, submarine volcanoes in deeper waters can be silent threats. These volcanoes release bubbles that reduce water density, making it impossible for ships to stay afloat. The surface may look calm, but tiny bubbles beneath can rob vessels of their buoyancy, sinking them with little to no warning. A cross sea is a rare and mesmerizing phenomenon where square waves form a checkerboard-like pattern on the ocean. This happens when two wave systems meet at oblique angles, often caused by a swell moving in one direction while strong winds push waves in another. While beautiful, cross seas are incredibly dangerous, especially for swimmers and smaller boats, as the chaotic currents are unpredictable and powerful. Square waves or cross seas can be extremely dangerous for swimmers and boaters. These waves, caused by powerful ocean currents meeting at different angles, are unpredictable and can grow as tall as 10 feet. They are sometimes called white walls because their strength is enough to overturn even large boats. Their chaotic movement can make the ocean appear calm, but the risks are high, especially for smaller vessels. If you ever take a clear glass of ocean water and look closely, you'll notice tiny particles suspended in it. Seawater contains dissolved salts, algae, fats, proteins, and even artificial matter like detergents. When you shake the glass, you'll see small bubbles form at the surface. This is how sea foam is created. While most sea foam is harmless, thick foam caused by algal blooms can be problematic. As these algae break down, they release toxins into the air, which can irritate your eyes or cause respiratory issues for people nearby. In certain areas where rivers meet the sea, you can witness a tidal bore, a powerful tide that flows against the river's current, pushing water upstream. Tidal bores are considered a type of surge, which is a sudden change in water depth. A positive surge causes the river to deepen, while a negative surge can make it much shallower. Tidal bores occur in specific conditions, like shallow rivers with narrow mouths, and the difference between high and low tide must be at least 20 feet. An exception is the Amazon River, where a tidal bore occurs despite its vast size. Money isn't made of paper, and no, it doesn't grow on trees. Most banknotes are actually made from a blend of 25% linen and 75% cotton. This gives them their distinct feel and durability. In the 19th century, money was made from parchment paper, which made it easy to counterfeit. Today's paper currency is much harder to replicate. The Eiffel Tower grows almost 6 inches taller in the summer due to a phenomenon called thermal expansion. When substances like metal are heated, their particles move more vigorously and take up more space, causing the material to expand. As temperatures drop, the substance contracts again. This effect is more noticeable in gases, but it also occurs in liquids and solids, like iron. Engineers build structures like bridges with expansion joints, allowing them to safely expand and contract without causing damage. Honey is a remarkable substance that can last for thousands of years without spoiling. Bees collect nectar from flowers and turn it into honey, which has natural preservatives like low moisture and high acidity that prevent bacteria from growing. Archaeologists have even found pots of honey in ancient tombs that are still edible, making honey one of the longest-lasting foods in the world. Long ago, people didn't elevate their mattresses off the floor, but this practice began in ancient Egypt and spread across cultures. People realized that the floor was cold, making it harder to stay warm at night. Without central heating, beds were raised off the ground to keep the cold air from seeping in. Additionally, by elevating the bed, it was easier to keep it clean, especially since floors were often dirtier back then. Humans have an innate need for cleanliness, driven by our sense of disgust. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors were already using latrines, grooming their hair with combs, and keeping their homes clean. This need for hygiene helps protect us from infections. Even though we're more sensitive to certain smells and dirt, we still have habits that can be less than tidy, like eating snacks over a keyboard. Interestingly, some animals are even neater than humans. For example, rattlesnakes are known to keep their surroundings clean, with some even using their sheds as a way to tidy up. Many animals, including reptiles and songbirds, clear their paths when hunting or nesting. Reptiles, with their muscular necks and triangular heads, sweep aside tall grass to make it easier to catch prey. Songbirds also tidy up their nests, getting rid of uneaten food, eggshells, and other debris. This behavior helps them stay hidden from predators while making their homes more efficient and clean. Shadows on the moon are much darker than on Earth. This is because Earth's atmosphere scatters sunlight, while the moon has no atmosphere to diffuse the light. If you were to visit the moon, you'd see shadows so dark you wouldn't be able to see where you were going. Interestingly, footprints left on the lunar surface by astronauts remain visible, even after decades. Without wind or water to erode them, these footprints stay intact for millions of years, a lasting reminder of human exploration. Earth's core contains enough gold to cover the entire planet. If it were possible, you could coat the entire surface of the Earth with gold up to your knees. This vast gold deposit is a result of meteorites colliding with Earth during its formation, bringing with them minerals, including gold. As Earth was molten at the time, gold, being a heavy element, sank to the core. Unfortunately, most of this gold is out of reach, buried about 1,800 miles below the surface in temperatures too high to access. Surviving in space without a spacesuit sounds impossible, but technically, you could survive for about 15 seconds. Without a suit, the lack of oxygen would cause you to lose consciousness at that time. Your body would be exposed to the vacuum of space, and oxygen wouldn't reach your brain, making survival only a brief possibility. This was demonstrated in 1965, when scientists studied the effects of space exposure on the human body. When you have a cold, your body tends to rest, and so do the nerves responsible for sneezing. While you sleep, the brain ignores irritants or tickling sensations that would normally trigger a sneeze. This is why you might not sneeze as much during sleep or rest. The calendar year once ended in February because it was the last month added to the calendar. The original calendar only had 304 days, leaving room for more months. Julius Caesar reformed it in 46 BCE, switching from a lunar calendar to the solar-based one we use today, aligning it better with the seasons. The apples you buy in supermarkets can sometimes be up to a year old, thanks to their storage process. After being picked, apples are coated in wax, dried with hot air, and then stored in cold storage to keep them fresh for long periods before they reach the shelves. People have better breath-holding capabilities than dolphins, who can hold their breath for up to 40 minutes by slowing their heart rate. If they watched a breathtaking series, they could hold their breath for an entire episode. Dolphins have a natural ability to conserve oxygen for long periods, much like expert divers. In old photographs, people didn't smile like we do today. Back then, photographers preferred more serious expressions, so instead of saying cheese, people would say prunes to keep their lips tight. This helped achieve a more somber look in the photos, which was the style of the time. Earth isn't the only planet with water. Scientists from NASA believe that Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, holds an ocean with twice the amount of water we have on Earth, hidden beneath a thick layer of ice. Even Mars has liquid water flowing in certain areas. Cicadas, while most species are only about 1 to 2 inches long, can get much larger. The empress cicada, the biggest known species, has a body length of 3 inches and a wingspan of up to 8 inches. It's a massive bug compared to other flying insects. Not all goats peacefully munch on meadow grass. Some, like the Moroccan goats, prefer to climb trees to find food. These goats are naturally agile and can navigate difficult terrain to access the fruit and foliage found high in trees. In North Africa, there's a unique phenomenon where goats are drawn to argan tree fruits rather than regular grass. These fruits, resembling golden apples, attract the agile goats, which climb the trees to enjoy the treats. They rarely need help from their nannies, showcasing their impressive climbing skills. There's a jellyfish species known as Turritopsis dohrnii, or the immortal jellyfish, that can technically live forever. If they experience any physical damage or stress, they can revert to an earlier life stage, the polyp, and begin their life cycle again. This ability to regenerate means they essentially reset their life, defying aging. It's a common question. Are there more trees on Earth or stars in the Milky Way? If you guess stars, you're wrong. According to scientists, there are approximately 3 trillion trees on Earth, far more than the estimated 100 billion stars in our galaxy. Pluto, discovered in 1930, still hasn't completed a full orbit around the Sun. It takes about 248 years for Pluto to make one full trip. In comparison, Mercury is the fastest planet, completing its orbit in just 88 days. Pluto's first complete orbit since its discovery will occur in 2178. The dwarf planet Haumea has a unique shape, resembling a potato. It's about the same size as Pluto and has rings, much like Saturn. Haumea orbits beyond Neptune, adding to the list of interesting and lesser-known features in our solar system. Contrary to popular belief, nachos are not an ancient Mexican food. They were invented in the 1940s in Mexico by a man named Ignacio Nacho Anaya. He created the dish to serve to American military wives who were visiting a restaurant in his town, and it quickly became a popular snack. Here's a riddle for you. What's common between peanut butter and an engagement ring? Both contain diamonds. Scientists have figured out how to turn peanut butter into diamonds by extracting oxygen from CO2, leaving carbon. By applying intense pressure, they can transform the carbon into diamonds. In 2008, a penguin named Niels Olaf III was knighted in Edinburgh, becoming the mascot and colonel-in-chief of the Norwegian King's Guard. Penguins can be knighted just like humans, and Niels Olaf III holds this unique distinction. It's one of the most unusual knighthoods in history. The Statue of Liberty, standing at 151 feet tall, would need a size 879 shoe if she ever wanted to wear sneakers. Of course, statues don't need shoes, but it's fun to imagine her needing such a massive pair of sneakers. Our muscles, called erector pili, are responsible for creating goosebumps. These tiny fan-shaped muscles sit at the base of every hair follicle. When we feel cold or experience certain emotions, they contract, causing our hairs to stand up and creating the familiar goosebumps. You may not think of yourself as an athlete, but if you've ever ironed clothes in an uncomfortable location, like a forest or on top of a mountain, you've participated in extreme ironing. This quirky sport involves ironing clothes in unexpected places like canoes, underwater, or even atop statues. Rap battles might seem modern, but they have medieval roots. Back in the 15th and 16th centuries in England, there was a practice called flighting, which was similar to contemporary rap battles. Opponents would mock each other in an improvised battle of words. Hold on tight. The random word is coming up in this video. Make sure you're paying attention and be the first to spot it. Taste is more complex than just sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. We have taste buds all over our mouths that are sensitive to different flavors, but no one area is better at detecting one flavor over another. Studies show that all areas of the tongue can taste all 5 basic flavors, meaning every part of your mouth helps with every taste. Chameleons don't change colors just to match their surroundings. Instead, their color changes are influenced by mood, temperature, and light. When a chameleon is relaxed, its cells and crystals stretch, which affects its color. Darker shades often indicate that the chameleon is in a bad or grumpy mood. Turkeys can blush just like humans. When they're angry or upset, their skin can turn red, much like how humans blush when they feel embarrassed or excited. It's one of the more human-like traits these birds share with us. Contrary to what cartoons and photos suggest, opossums don't really sleep while hanging by their tails. Although their tails are strong and can grip branches for short periods, they aren't strong enough for the animals to hang by them for long. Opossums are simply too heavy to hang by their tails for extended periods and still get the rest they need. Airports often have carpets in their gate areas, not just for comfort but also for business reasons. Carpets create a cozy atmosphere, which helps passengers feel more relaxed and at ease. Studies show that calm passengers are more likely to shop and spend money in the lounge or duty-free areas. So, while it costs more to maintain carpets, airports invest in them to increase their own income. When you're on a plane, you might wonder where your baggage goes. The short answer is that airport staff don't track it after it leaves their hands. Baggage is sorted automatically by scanners that read barcodes and direct luggage to the correct destination. Airport staff primarily handle tasks like moving bags from check-in to the gate, transferring them between gates, and bringing them to baggage claim. If your luggage doesn't make it to your connecting flight on time, it's likely due to the automated sorting system. The same thing can happen in reverse. Your bag might get to the destination before you if you're delayed at passport control. Also, if you forget to remove old destination stickers from your luggage, the scanner might mistakenly send it to the wrong country. Most airports have giant kitchens where food for passengers is prepared. These kitchens handle the large volume of meals required for passengers on long flights, ensuring that meals are fresh and ready to be served during the journey. Airport kitchens operate 24/7, preparing meals for various airlines at once. Since airplane food needs to be cooked 6 to 10 hours in advance, these kitchens are busy around the clock. The menu for each flight is planned up to a year in advance to carefully consider every ingredient, as even small changes can lead to big savings. For example, one airline saved $40,000 by removing just one olive from each salad served on their flights. At security checkpoints, airport staff may ask passengers to rub their hands on a piece of cloth before passing them through a machine called an atomizer. This may seem unusual, but it's harmless. The atomizer checks for dangerous chemicals by memorizing their smells. If it detects these substances on a person's hands, it alerts the staff to potential danger. If you've ever been stopped at security for having a prohibited item, don't worry. Any seized items can be stored at the airport for up to 3 months. You can even have them mailed to any address within the country. Items that aren't claimed after the storage period may be sold at special auctions and shipped worldwide. If you have a long layover between flights, going to a nearby hotel might not always be the cheapest option. Some airports offer services or lounges where you can rest, shower, or even sleep comfortably without the added cost of a hotel stay. The random word hidden in this video is club. Make sure to comment fast so you can be the first to get it right and earn a shout out in the next video. In multi-terminal airports, there are often hidden passageways connecting terminals that most passengers are unaware of. For example, at Frankfurt Airport in Germany, there is a walking tunnel between Terminal 1 and Terminal 2 that is mainly used by employees, as many travelers don't even know it exists. It's worth exploring if you find yourself in a multi-terminal airport. The first 60 minutes after you check in is called the golden hour. During this time, passengers tend to spend more money in retail and duty-free areas of the airport. Airports place comfortable seating in front of shops to entice travelers to linger, making it easier for them to shop while relaxing. It's a clever tactic to encourage spending. If your flight is overbooked and you're asked to give up your seat, don't accept the first voucher you're offered. Airlines usually keep raising the compensation until they get enough volunteers. If you're involuntarily bumped from the flight, you could be entitled to a cash refund, which could be as high as $1,300 depending on your ticket and the length of your delay. At most airports, there are experts known as profilers. These professionals use psychology to observe and assess passenger behavior, often helping to identify potential security risks or suspicious activity. Their role is crucial in maintaining safety and smooth operations within the airport. There's a floating space cloud made entirely of water, so vast that it could fill our oceans 140 trillion times over. The water on Earth is still a mystery, but the most popular theory is that icy comets and asteroids brought it here during Earth's formation. These celestial bodies not only created mighty craters, but also provided the water that sustains life on our planet. In space, there's an abundance of organic matter that, under the right conditions, could produce enough water to fill our oceans thousands of times over. Researchers have conducted experiments where they heated this organic material and obtained both clear water and oil. If this is confirmed, it could suggest that oil on Earth might not only come from fossilized remains, but could also have extraterrestrial origins. Recent data suggests there could be around 6 billion Earth-like planets in the Milky Way alone. Every fifth Sun-like star may have at least one planet in its habitable zone. These planets, with their rocky cores and Earth-like surfaces, have high chances of supporting life. Given the vast number of galaxies in the universe, it's likely that at least one of these planets is inhabited. Our ability to walk upright might be thanks to supernova explosions from about 2.5 million years ago. These explosions sent cosmic rays to Earth, triggering electrical storms and thunderstorms. These storms caused wildfires in Northeast Africa, which changed the landscape from forests to savannas. The change in atmospheric pressure prompted our ancestors to adapt by standing on two legs to survive. In 2019, the biggest explosion since the Big Bang occurred in the Ophiuchus cluster, which contains thousands of galaxies. The explosion's force was equivalent to 20 billion megaton explosions happening every millisecond for 240 million years. This intense cosmic event was felt across the universe. In 2019, NASA's InSight lander on Mars detected the first ever Marsquake. These quakes occurred about twice a day, though they were too small to feel on Earth. Over 300 Marsquakes have been detected so far, making Mars the third celestial body to experience earthquakes after Earth and the Moon. The mission also uncovered strange magnetic pulses around midnight, but scientists are still unsure of their origin. Pluto's atmosphere is much higher above its surface than Earth's, with more than 20 layers that are freezing cold and extremely condensed. This thin, layered atmosphere adds to the mystery of the dwarf planet. The asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs is well known, but another space event may have wiped out up to 75% of life on Earth. This event likely had catastrophic consequences for life across the planet. Roughly 360 million years ago, a supernova explosion occurred about 65 light-years away from Earth. The cosmic rays emitted from this explosion were strong enough to sweep away our planet's ozone layer, leaving Earth vulnerable to more intense solar radiation. A busy highway or renovation area has more dust than a house in the middle of a forest. The constant movement of cars and workers stirs up dust that can spread all around. In contrast, forests are calm places with natural growth, and the air is usually cleaner, as there's less human activity to disturb the ground. Skin is our largest organ. It covers and protects our body, and while we don't always think about it, it works hard to keep harmful things out and keep us safe. On average, the skin weighs about 8 pounds and covers a surface area of 22 square feet. It's essential for our health, providing protection and regulating temperature. You can't breathe and swallow at the same time. Our body has two pathways in the throat, one for air and one for food. These pathways are separate to prevent food from accidentally going down the wrong way and blocking our airway. This natural design helps us avoid choking when we eat or drink. Humans have unique tongue prints. Just like fingerprints, each person's tongue has a distinct pattern that's impossible to duplicate. These unique features can even be used as a biometric tool for identification, much like how we use fingerprints or iris scans to verify who we are. An average adult spends around 3 hours a week in the bathroom. This time adds up as we go about our daily routines, and it's often more time than we spend exercising. The bathroom can be a place to relax, take a break, or just handle personal tasks. You don't swallow 8 spiders a year while sleeping. This myth has been around for a long time, but there's no truth to it. Most spiders avoid humans, and vibrations from your movements keep them away. They're more interested in finding a quiet place to stay, far from your bed. So, don't worry. You're safe from swallowing spiders. Your thigh bone is incredibly strong. It can handle thousands of pounds of force without breaking. This makes the femur one of the strongest bones in the body. It supports much of your weight and plays a vital role in your movement. The strength of your thigh bone helps you stand, walk, and run without issue. Shaving your hair doesn't make it grow back thicker, contrary to what some might think. When you shave, you only remove the upper part of the hair, leaving the root intact. After shaving, the hair grows back with a blunt tip, which can make it feel thicker, but it doesn't actually affect the hair's thickness or growth rate. There's no such thing as the 5-second rule. Researchers have found that bacteria can transfer to food almost instantly after it hits the floor. The level of contamination depends on the food's moisture. Wet foods like watermelon are more likely to pick up bacteria than dry foods like chips. So it's best not to eat food that has fallen on the floor regardless of the time. Blondes and redheads aren't going to disappear anytime soon. The genes responsible for blonde and red hair are recessive, which means they can be passed down even if they don't show up in every generation. While these genes are rare, they are still carried by many people, and as long as those genes are passed on, these hair colors will persist. Drinking coffee does not dehydrate you. While it's true that coffee may make you visit the bathroom more often, it doesn't mean you're losing more water. Studies show that moderate coffee consumption doesn't increase the risk of dehydration. In fact, coffee can contribute to your daily fluid intake like any other beverage. Eating yogurt can indeed help with digestion, but only if you choose the right kind. Yogurt with live cultures contains beneficial probiotics, which support gut health and improve digestion. It's important to look for yogurts that list live or active cultures on the label for maximum benefits. Probiotics, the good bacteria in yogurt, help keep your digestive system running smoothly. However, eating yogurt alone may not be enough for optimal gut health. While yogurt supports digestion, not all yogurts are created equal. Some contain added sugar or toppings like candy and cookies, so it's best to choose the classic varieties with live cultures. The idea that getting your hair cut more often makes it grow faster is a myth. While it's common advice, hair growth is determined by factors like age, hormones, and time of year, not by how often you trim it. On average, hair grows about 0.01 inches per day, and no amount of cutting will change that rate. Some sharks have a remarkable ability to eject their stomachs, only to pull them back in. This helps them get rid of indigestible material like turtle shells, bird bones, and lobster claws. The process is quick, taking only a second, and helps the shark avoid digesting things it can't process, allowing them to keep hunting for new prey. Sharks have a special system that allows them to heat up their eyes and brain. This adaptation helps them detect movement more effectively and improves their vision in murky waters. For species like the mako shark, this system also aids in their ability to travel across varying temperatures. Unlike humans, sharks can move both their upper and lower jaws. This unique ability allows them to grab prey more effectively and chew it thoroughly. By moving both jaws independently, sharks can get a better grip on their meal, making them faster and more efficient predators in the ocean. The goblin, basking, and cookie-cutter sharks vary greatly in size, ranging from just a few inches to dozens of feet long. They also inhabit completely different environments, with some living in deep waters and others near the surface. Despite their differences, all sharks play crucial roles in maintaining balance in the ocean ecosystems. Tiger sharks are known for their indiscriminate eating habits and will consume just about anything they can get their jaws around. Some of the oddest items they've been found to eat include video cameras, bags of money, license plates from U.S. states, and even dog leashes. They are often referred to as the garbage cans of the sea. Each whale shark has a unique pattern on its skin, made up of spots and stripes. These markings are as individual as fingerprints, and researchers use them to identify and track specific sharks. This incredible trait helps scientists monitor their populations and movements across the globe. The blunt-nosed six-gill shark can dive to depths as great as 5 times the height of the Empire State Building. This species is capable of navigating some of the deepest parts of the ocean, where most other creatures can't survive, showing just how adapted sharks are to a variety of underwater environments. Baby sharks, also known as pups, are born fully nourished and ready to swim away from their mother. They don't need to hunt for food right away and can survive for weeks without seeking prey. This incredible survival instinct helps them thrive in the wild, even without direct parental care. Squirrels' teeth never stop growing, but they keep them worn down by constantly gnawing on nuts and other hard foods. The front of a squirrel's teeth is orange due to a special enamel coating that makes them tough enough to chew through hard materials. Thankfully, humans don't have to worry about this constant tooth growth. Some bird species don't mind eating chili peppers because they can't feel the heat. The compound that makes peppers hot, capsaicin, burns human mouths, but birds lack the taste buds that react to this chemical. This allows them to eat spicy food without the discomfort that we experience. A rhino's horn is made of keratin, the same protein that forms human hair and nails. Unlike other animals with bony horns, rhino horns are unique in being made entirely of keratin. This makes them both strong and lightweight, giving rhinos an effective weapon for defense and survival. The woodpecker can peck up to 20 times per second, a pace so fast that it's almost too quick for the human eye to notice. In a single day, woodpeckers can peck anywhere from 8,000 to 12,000 times, constantly searching for insects and carving out homes in tree trunks. Starfish actually have eyes, one on the end of each of their arms. These eyes are sensitive to light, helping the starfish detect changes in their environment. While not capable of sharp vision, these simple eyes allow starfish to sense light and navigate their underwater world. In Australia, the hippopotamus has pink sweat, which isn't exactly sweat, but a reddish, oily fluid. This fluid doesn't cool the body, but it moisturizes the skin and acts as an antibiotic. It helps protect the hippo from sunburns or cuts, and interestingly, it can be beneficial for humans as well, providing natural protection. Some species of tarantulas, among the largest spiders in the world, can survive without food for more than 2 years. Their ability to go without eating for such a long time is impressive, though I'm sure many would still prefer to keep their distance due to their creepy appearance. Platypuses close their eyes while swimming. They have special folds of skin that cover their ears and eyes, preventing water from entering these areas. Their nostrils also have watertight seals, making them perfectly adapted for life in the water without getting drenched inside. Emus are unique in that they can't walk backward, and scientists aren't entirely sure why. These flightless birds are the only ones with calf muscles, which helps them sprint fast and travel long distances. However, the inability to move backward remains a mystery. Crocodiles can't move their tongues because it's attached to the roof of their mouths. This keeps their throat closed and protects their airway, making sure they can breathe properly when submerged in water. Water snakes, dolphins, whales, alligators, crocodiles, and turtles can drown if they stay underwater too long. They can hold their breath for extended periods, but eventually they need to surface to breathe. They can't breathe underwater like fish, making them susceptible to drowning if they can't get to the surface in time. Only one species of bird can fly backward: the hummingbird. These tiny birds can flap their wings up to 80 times per second, allowing them to hover and even fly in reverse. Their incredible wing speed and agility make them stand out in the bird world. Elephant shrews, despite their name, are more closely related to elephants than to true shrews. Their unique trunk-like noses help them feed on insects. Cats, along with other felines, can't taste sweet things because they lack the taste buds required to detect sweetness. This is a trait that sets them apart from humans and other animals that enjoy sweet flavors, leaving more sugary treats for us to enjoy. Flamingos can only eat with their heads upside down. This strange feeding habit is due to their massive lower bill and smaller upper bill, which are designed to work in perfect harmony for inverted feeding. It's a unique trait that sets them apart from most other birds. When toucans sleep, they curl up into tight balls. They have the ability to turn their heads so that their tail covers their head while their beak rests on their back. This comfortable sleeping position allows them to rest in an unusual yet cozy way. Clownfish are all born male, but in some situations they can turn into females. This gender change is irreversible, which is different from most fish. It's one of the many fascinating traits of clownfish that make them stand out in the underwater world. Termites never sleep. They can eat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, constantly working to break down wood in your house. These tiny creatures are always active, and they can cause quite a lot of damage over time if not managed properly. Just like humans have fingerprints, animals also have unique nose prints. These prints can be used to identify individual animals, and no two are the same. Owls don't have eyeballs. Instead, they have eye tubes that don't move. This unique feature helps them see well in low light, but it also means that owls must turn their heads almost completely around to look in different directions. Penguins don't have external ears, but their hearing is especially sharp, especially when they're keeping an ear out for predators like polar bears. They rely on their keen senses to detect danger from afar, making them even more impressive in the wild. Penguins are always alert, even though their ears are hidden from view. Jellyfish are made up of 98% water, which makes them incredibly fragile. When they get washed ashore, their bodies can evaporate into the air within just a few hours, making them one of the most delicate creatures in the ocean. Their high water content is what gives them their soft, jelly-like appearance. If there's ever a traffic jam underwater, an alligator will always give way to a manatee. These creatures might not seem like they'd be concerned with manners, but alligators are known to be surprisingly polite in the water, giving room for the slower-moving, peaceful manatees. Grizzly bears have an incredibly strong bite, strong enough to crush a bowling ball. So it's a good idea to let them win in any strength contest. These powerful animals have jaws that can crush bone. Giant pandas are not picky when it comes to sleeping spots. They'll usually fall asleep wherever they are, even on the forest floor. Their newborn cubs are tiny, weighing no more than a small cup of coffee. In fact, they are smaller than a mouse when they are born. The red handfish, despite its name, doesn't have hands. Instead, it uses evolved fins to walk along the ocean floor. These fins help the fish move and steady itself in the rocky seafloor, allowing it to navigate the ocean bed in a way similar to how animals walk on land. Cats don't usually meow at each other. A study has shown that cats primarily use meowing as a way to communicate with humans, not other cats. They've figured out that meowing gets them the attention they want, whether it's food, affection, or simply getting noticed by their favorite humans. Sloths can't shiver, which is a unique trait for these slow-moving animals. It's not because they're too busy digesting their 2-week-old meal. Their metabolism is slower, and their fur sometimes gets covered with algae. When they get too hot or too cold, their metabolism slows down as a way to help them survive in tough conditions. The closest living relatives to the T-Rex are chickens and ostriches. It might sound surprising, but these modern-day birds share a common ancestor with the fearsome dinosaurs, making them distant relatives of the mighty T-Rex. Who would have thought your chicken could be connected to one of the most famous predators in history? The moray eel has a second set of jaws that can extend from its throat. When it catches prey with its main jaws, the additional jaws quickly grab the meal with sharp, backward-pointing teeth and drag it down into the eel's throat. It's a creepy but effective way to catch and consume food. Some species of snails have hairy shells. These snails have tiny hair-like structures growing on the surface of their shells, giving them a unique appearance. These hairs may serve to help protect the snail or to help it blend into its environment, making it harder for predators to spot. Humpback whales use a unique hunting technique called bubble net feeding. They gather in groups and create a ring of bubbles around a school of fish. The bubbles trap the fish, preventing them from escaping, making it easier for the whales to catch and consume them. It's a cooperative effort that showcases the whale's intelligence. Snow leopards can't roar like other big cats thanks to their less developed vocal cords. However, they can still communicate through meows, growls, hisses, and even purring. Despite their quieter communication style, snow leopards are still skilled hunters and elusive predators in the mountainous regions they call home. Sea otters hold hands while napping to avoid drifting away from each other. They also wrap themselves in giant seaweed to keep together while resting in the water. This behavior helps them stay in close groups, ensuring they don't lose one another in the currents while they sleep. Lions are often called the king of the jungle, but in reality they mostly live in grasslands or savannas. Even though the males are in charge of protecting the pride and its territory, it's the females who do nearly all of the hunting. Their teamwork ensures the pride stays fed and safe. Cats have an impressive ability to move their ears, thanks to having 32 muscles in each outer ear. This allows them to rotate their ears independently, improving their hearing and helping them focus on sounds from different directions. It's one of the many reasons why cats are such effective hunters. Some shark species can glow in the dark, but only other sharks can see the eerie greenish glow. This bioluminescence helps them communicate or camouflage in the deep ocean, giving them an edge in the predator-prey game. Your dog has just over 1,500 taste buds, while humans have up to 8,000. This difference in the number of taste buds explains why dogs are less picky than humans when it comes to food. Their sense of taste is much less developed, which is why they can enjoy a wide variety of foods with enthusiasm. The blue jay can imitate the calls of other birds, with its favorite being the hawk's call. It uses this mimicry to scare away other birds from its territory, making it a clever and effective way to defend its space. This mimicry also adds to the blue jay's reputation as a bold, resourceful bird. Slow lorises are not only incredibly cute, but also dangerous. They are the only known venomous primates, with a gland in their inner arm that secretes toxins. These toxins can cause unpleasant symptoms in humans if they come into contact with the loris, making them a potentially hazardous creature despite their adorable appearance. The heart of a beast, like the zebra or antelope, has an amazing evasion tactic to escape predators. They move in a zigzag pattern to confuse and evade their pursuers. This unexpected change in direction makes it harder for predators to predict their next move, helping the prey stay one step ahead. Bottlenose dolphins have names for each other, which are specific whistles that allow them to communicate with their fellow dolphins. These unique whistles help them identify one another, much like how humans use names. Giraffes have long black tongues, which might seem odd, but scientists believe this color helps protect the tongue from sunburn. The black pigmentation absorbs UV light, keeping their tongues safe from the harsh sunlight while they graze on tall trees and shrubs. Bromelain is an enzyme found in pineapples, mostly concentrated in the core, that breaks down proteins. This powerful enzyme is so effective that it's even used as a meat tenderizer. If you find pineapple too painful to eat raw, cooking it alters the enzymes. The tissue in our mouth heals faster than any other part of our body, thanks to the increased blood flow in our face. This rapid healing helps prevent infections and allows us to recover quickly from minor injuries in our mouths. The admittance rate for Harvard is just 4.7% of applicants, meaning it's incredibly competitive to get in. Walmart's acceptance rate is even tougher at only 2.6%. These figures show how challenging it is to make it into top institutions, whether for education or for a job at a giant corporation like Walmart. When things get hot, atoms move quickly. However, as temperatures drop, atomic movement slows down. At absolute zero, which is minus 459.67 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 Kelvin, atomic movement stops completely. While it's almost impossible to reach this temperature, space is incredibly cold, averaging around 2.7 Kelvin or minus 455 degrees Fahrenheit. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance, and it's a fitting name. These birds are known for their beautiful pink color, which changes based on what they eat. Depending on their diet, which could include algae, shrimp, or insects, their vibrant pink hue can shift. Flamingos create massive flocks that can travel to water bodies across the globe. Humans and emperor penguins are the only warm-blooded animals that stay in Antarctica during the winter. While humans can bundle up in coats, penguins stick to their formal wear of feathers. To survive, emperor penguins form large huddles for warmth, moving constantly so that every penguin gets a chance to be in the center and stay warm. Clouds look white because they reflect sunlight off the tiny water droplets in them. When clouds are thin, more light passes through, making them appear white. As the cloud gets thicker, the amount of light passing through decreases, and the cloud starts to appear gray, signaling that it contains more water droplets. The coco de mer, or sea coconut, produces the world's largest and heaviest seeds. A single seed can reach up to 12 inches long, 3 feet around, and weigh over 40 pounds. These massive seeds come from the Seychelles and are a marvel of nature due to their size and unique shape. Rabbits may be cute and cuddly, but in Brisbane, Australia, it's illegal to keep one as a pet. You can only keep them for approved purposes, like public entertainment. This law is in place to prevent rabbits from becoming invasive and causing environmental damage in the region. The Kármán line is the generally agreed upon boundary of space, located at 62 miles above sea level. It's the point at which space officially begins, according to international consensus. This line marks the boundary between Earth's atmosphere and outer space. The human brain is made up of about 60% fat, making it the fattest organ in the body. It's a surprising fact, given how much focus we often put on the brain's cognitive abilities rather than its structure. The brain's gray matter, which makes up about 40% of its weight, contains 100 billion neurons that transmit signals throughout the body. In Utah's Fish Lake National Forest, there's a colony of aspen trees known as the trembling giant. These trees share the same root system and have been there for nearly 1 million years. It's one of the oldest living organisms on Earth, and its unique root system allows it to survive and thrive across generations. A margherita pizza has tomato, mozzarella, and basil on top to represent the colors of the Italian national flag. This delicious dish not only satisfies your taste buds, but also showcases Italy's patriotic pride through its colorful ingredients. The world's largest sandcastle, measuring 57 feet 11 inches high, was created in Germany on June 5, 2019. Sculptura Projects, a team of 20 artists, spent 3.5 weeks constructing the massive structure using 11,000 tons of sand and water. Antarctica's largest native land animal is a wingless midgefly called Belgica antarctica. This tiny insect is only half an inch long, and interestingly, every other animal in Antarctica is considered a marine animal. Seals and penguins, for example, spend most of their time in the ocean hunting for food in the extreme cold. General Sherman, located in California, is the world's largest tree. This giant sequoia stands over 2,000 years old and is taller than the Statue of Liberty. Its massive size and age make it a true wonder of nature. I hope you're enjoying the videos. Let me know what you want to see in future videos and share your thoughts on this one. If you like this video, then this next video is definitely for you. Make sure to watch it. Cigarettes were advertised as a non-addictive product in the early 20th century. Ironic, right? Or did you know that China has built such an enormous dam that it has slowed the rotation of the Earth? Buckle up, as the next hour would be a bumpy ride of such astonishing facts. Let's start. In the 18th and 19th centuries, tuberculosis, then known as consumption, was strangely romanticized and considered a symbol of beauty, highlighting the levels of absurdity that the human mind can extend to. This disease caused pale skin, sunken cheeks, rosy lips, and bright, fevered eyes. Featuring features that match the beauty ideals of the Romantic era. The weight loss and delicate, frail appearance associated with tuberculosis were often seen as signs of refinement and purity. Artists and writers glorified tuberculosis in literature and art, portraying sufferers as ethereal and otherworldly. The disease was also central to operas like La Bohème and La Traviata. The women of the Yao tribe in Huangluo, China, grow their hair to extraordinary lengths, often exceeding 6 feet. Hair is washed with fermented rice water, believed to promote growth and prevent graying. Women cut their hair only once in their lifetime during a coming-of-age ceremony. They keep the cut hair, weaving it into their hairstyles for special occasions. Long hair is considered a symbol of beauty, longevity, and wealth, with elaborate styles revealing marital status. This tradition, blending beauty practices with cultural symbolism, has drawn international attention and has contributed to tourism in the area. Professional wailing has been a real paid job in the past. In ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome, professional mourners, often women, were hired to cry, scream, and beat their chests at funerals to show grief for the deceased. These mourners were sometimes required to tear their clothing or smear their faces with ashes for dramatic effect. Their performance symbolized the family's sorrow and ensured the dead would be remembered. In Egypt, some were dressed as deities like Isis and Nephthys to guide the spirit to the afterlife. The job was so common that mourners often worked in teams and were hired out for multiple funerals in a day. If you were alive in 18th and 19th century Britain, you could get the job of an alarm clock. Knocker-uppers were employed to wake workers up for their shifts during the Industrial Revolution. They used long sticks, pea shooters, or small hammers to tap on windows, ensuring clients woke up on time. Some charged by the week, while others earned tips for punctuality. The job required patience, accuracy, and quiet skills to avoid disturbing neighbors. As alarm clocks became more affordable, knocker-uppers faded into obscurity. In medieval Europe, leech collectors gathered medicinal leeches from marshes and ponds to supply doctors and apothecaries. The job involved wading through water, allowing leeches to latch onto their skin, or using animals as bait. Leeches were believed to balance the body's humors by drawing out bad blood, a central idea in ancient medicine. The profession was dangerous, as excessive blood loss and infections were common. Despite the risk, leech collectors played a crucial role in the medical practices of the time. Even today, leeches are used in modern medicine, but thankfully, collection methods no longer involve human bait. The iconic tilt of the Leaning Tower of Pisa was an accident. The Leaning Tower of Pisa began tilting shortly after construction started in 1173 due to unstable soil and a shallow foundation. Efforts to correct the tilt during construction only made it worse. Engineers worked for centuries to stabilize it, with major interventions in the late 20th century reducing its lean by about 17 inches. Despite its flaws, the tower survived earthquakes and remains a global icon. The unintended tilt has made it more famous than if it were upright, drawing millions of tourists annually. In the early 18th century, Europeans believed tomatoes were toxic, but the reason was not the tomatoes themselves. Wealthy people ate them off pewter plates, which contained lead. The acidic juice of the tomatoes leached lead from the plates, causing lead poisoning, often mistaken as the tomatoes' fault. This earned them the nickname poison apples. Tomatoes were also feared for their association with deadly nightshade, a poisonous relative. They also faced an identity crisis. Botanically a fruit, tomatoes are classified as vegetables in culinary terms due to their savory taste. Despite their rocky journey, they're now one of the most consumed vegetables worldwide. In the 16th century, coffee was viewed with suspicion by some religious leaders in Europe who called it the bitter invention of Satan. Its dark color and stimulating effects led many to associate it with sinister origins, prompting demands for a ban. However, before passing judgment, Pope Clement VIII decided to try the controversial beverage himself. Upon tasting it, he was reportedly captivated by its rich flavor and aroma, declaring it too delightful to be the work of evil forces. This declaration effectively legitimized coffee in Europe, paving the way for its widespread acceptance. Pope Clement's endorsement turned a suspected devil's drink into a beloved staple of European culture. It may sound surprising, but the average person spends approximately 3 years of their life sitting on the toilet. Research indicates that the average bathroom visit lasts about 5 to 10 minutes, and most people use the toilet 2 to 3 times a day. Over the course of a lifetime, this adds up to a considerable amount of time. Interestingly, many people use this time for reading, playing games, or browsing their phones, contributing to its reputation as a place for brief mental escapes. If you don't have children or pets, this time could extend even more. Wood is an incredibly effective natural insulator, which is why it has been a popular material for construction for thousands of years. The cellular structure of wood contains air pockets that trap heat, giving it low thermal conductivity. This means that wood helps to maintain temperature regulation inside buildings, whether it's keeping warmth in during the winter or cooling the interior in summer. This property makes wood an ideal choice for environmentally friendly, energy-efficient homes. Moreover, wood's insulating properties help reduce the need for excessive heating and cooling, leading to energy savings and a lower carbon footprint in building construction and home design. Mycelium, the root structure of fungi, has emerged as a sustainable and biodegradable building material. It grows quickly in molds, creating lightweight yet durable blocks that can replace traditional materials like like concrete or insulation. Mycelium bricks are fire-resistant, insulate effectively, and require minimal energy to produce, making them eco-friendly. Architects and designers have experimented with it for furniture, temporary structures, and even small homes. This innovative use of fungi reflects a shift toward biomaterials in construction, addressing issues like resource depletion and carbon emissions. While still in the experimental stages, it can give our construction a whole new meaning. Underwater volcanic eruptions sometimes create floating lava balloons or pumice rafts. These are lightweight volcanic rocks filled with gas bubbles that form when lava rapidly cools in water, often with a glass core. In 2012, an eruption near New Zealand's Kermadec Islands produced a pumice raft larger than Manhattan, which drifted for months, carrying marine organisms. Such rafts can travel vast distances across oceans, spreading volcanic material and sometimes aiding coral reef formation by delivering larvae, reshaping and revolutionizing ecosystems. The first recorded idea of a submarine came from Leonardo da Vinci, who sketched a boat capable of underwater navigation. In 1620, Cornelis Drebbel built the first functional submarine, made of wood and covered in leather, powered by rowers using oars. It could dive to 15 feet and stay submerged in the Thames River for hours. Early designs lacked modern propulsion systems, relying on manual labor. Submarines as we know them only emerged during the 19th century, with the invention of the Nautilus, powered by steam. These inventions laid the groundwork for modern submarines, crucial in warfare, exploration, and science. Humans can own a lunar property. While the 1967 Outer Space Treaty prevents nations from claiming celestial bodies, it doesn't explicitly address private ownership. This loophole led to individuals selling lunar land. In 1980, Dennis Hope declared himself owner of the moon and started selling plots. He argued his claim was valid under US law due to lack of opposition. Over 600 million acres have been sold to buyers worldwide, including celebrities. However, these deeds hold no legal value under international law. Despite the questionable legality of the process, people still purchase and sell lunar property. Enjoying the video? Support me by donating a caffeine-filled coffee. Link is in the description. In the early 20th century, cigarette advertisements claimed health benefits. Doctors were featured in ads endorsing specific brands, suggesting they soothed throats and aided digestion. Some brands like Lucky Strike promoted smoking as a weight loss tool, targeting women with slogans like "Reach for a Lucky instead of a sweet." At the time, the harmful effects of smoking were not widely understood, and tobacco companies exploited this ignorance. Ironically, studies later revealed cigarettes' links to deadly diseases like cancer and emphysema. Modern awareness about the ill effects of smoking has not impacted much in preventing its consumption. In many prisons worldwide, cigarettes have historically served as an informal currency. Since inmates often lack access to money, they trade cigarettes for goods and services, such as food, favors, or other contraband. In some cases, packs of cigarettes became more valuable than actual money, creating a shadow economy within correctional facilities, many times kept private. As smoking bans became more common in prisons, alternative currencies like instant noodles started replacing cigarettes. This concept shows us the stunning adaptability of the human mind to its surroundings. The first alarm for environmental degradation didn't come from the scientists, it came from the hippies. They were among the first to sound the alarm about environmental degradation in the 1960s. They popularized ideas like organic farming, recycling, and living in harmony with nature long before these became mainstream. Shocking as it may seem, this countercultural group, often stereotyped as carefree and reckless, was instrumental in launching movements like Earth Day in 1970. Their protests against nuclear power and pollution laid the groundwork for modern environmentalism. Ironically, their lifestyle, living in vans, burning campfires, and using non-recyclable materials, wasn't always eco-friendly. However, their advocacy left a profound impact on how society views the environment today. A history-defying fact about Mongols is that they had a mercy policy. The Mongols, despite their brutal tactics, had a surprising policy when it came to conquered cities. They would spare skilled workers, artisans, and professionals, and often make them work for the Mongol Empire. For example, the siege of Nishapur in 1221 saw the destruction of the city, but doctors, architects, and engineers were kept alive to serve the Mongol military efforts. The practice was shocking because it demonstrated that, while Genghis Khan's forces would wipe out entire populations, they also valued human resources. The Japanese kappa might be inspired by giant salamanders. This water-dwelling folklore demonic creature known for drowning people and eating cucumbers has bizarrely realistic elements. Descriptions of the kappa's slick, amphibian-like skin and habit of living in water closely resemble giant salamanders, which are native to Japan. Some historians theorize that sightings of these creatures may have inspired the myth. Even stranger, kappas are said to have a bowl of water on their heads that keeps them alive. To outsmart one, bow deeply, it'll bow back, spilling the water and rendering it powerless. Pretty dumb for a demon. Neon lights are surprisingly eco-friendly. Neon lights may look flashy, but they're incredibly energy efficient. A typical neon sign lasts 10 to 15 years and uses far less energy than incandescent bulbs or even some LED lights. Neon tubes operate at low pressure and don't require filaments, making them durable and resistant to wear. Additionally, neon gas itself is inert and non-toxic, posing no environmental harm. While the manufacturing process involves high voltages, the long lifespan of neon tubes offsets this energy use, making them surprisingly sustainable for their size and brightness. Infants as young as 6 months old show signs of rudimentary math skills, showcasing the incredible learning capability of the human brain. In experiments, babies demonstrated the ability to recognize numerical changes in groups of objects, such as when 3 items were replaced with 2. This phenomenon, called numerical cognition, forms the foundation for later mathematical abilities. Researchers believe it's linked to evolutionary survival skills, like assessing quantities of food or threats. While they can't count in the traditional sense, this innate understanding of quantity suggests that the human brain is wired for basic math from the start. The first wheels used in transportation were not circular discs, but solid wooden planks lashed together. These primitive wheels were inefficient and prone to breaking. It was not until many centuries later that someone had the bright idea of making the wheel round. Around 2000 BCE, the spoked wheel was invented, reducing weight and improving performance. Spoked wheels, made from lighter materials, were crucial in creating faster chariots used by armies and traders. These innovations in wheel design marked a shift toward mobility, enhancing both warfare and commerce. Over time, the introduction of iron rims around 1000 BCE added durability and diversity to its use. The honey wine of the gods is a fermented beverage made from honey, water, and sometimes fruits or spices. It was so prized that it was often referred to as nectar, and among the Greeks, this drink was called ambrosia, which means immortal, and it was the drink of the gods of Olympus. As for the Gauls, they considered it a drink that gives strength and cheerfulness. It was one of the ingredients of the famous magic potion in Asterix the Gaul. Not only did it make you feel divine, but it was also an excuse to drink honey-flavored alcohol without feeling guilty about the empty calories. Jesters were more than entertainers. They held a unique position in medieval courts, blending humor with sharp observation. Protected by their role as fools, they could speak candidly to rulers without fear of punishment. Their humor often masked critiques of the king's decisions, highlighting flaws in policies or the misconduct of court officials. This ability to navigate sensitive topics through wit made jesters invaluable advisors. They used storytelling, satire, and parody to convey uncomfortable truths, often holding a mirror to power. Jesters also served as a gauge for public sentiment, voicing concerns that others dared not. Their performances were flamboyant, yet not pointless. Despite their name, skeleton keys don't open every lock. They only work on a specific type of lock known as a warded lock. These locks, common in older homes and buildings, use a simple mechanism that the skeleton key bypasses by removing unnecessary protrusions. While they seem mysterious, skeleton keys are more a relic of past locking technology than an all-purpose tool. Modern locks, such as pin tumblers and electronic versions, render skeleton keys useless. Their romanticized portrayal in literature and film often exaggerates their capabilities. Malarial parasites can live in the liver unnoticed for months. After a mosquito bite, the malaria parasite travels to the liver, where it can remain dormant for weeks or even months. This stage of the infection is known as the liver stage and can make the disease difficult to diagnose early. In some cases, the parasites wake up later, leading to a relapse of the disease. It can lead to chronic anemia, spleen enlargement, and internal bleeding. Certain types of plasmodium can cause relapsing malaria due to this dormant phase. About 48% of the world's population is at risk of developing this stealthy type of malaria. Formerly only used as fancy dining, advanced ceramics extend beyond traditional pottery to fields like medicine and aerospace. Bioceramics, such as hydroxyapatite, are used in dental implants and bone grafts due to their biocompatibility. Due to their extreme thermal stability, ceramic materials like silicon carbide are integral to heat shields on spacecraft, including those used on the space shuttle, where they withstand extreme re-entry temperatures. Ceramics are also used in semiconductors, offering insulating properties essential for electronics. Their unique thermal, mechanical, and electrical properties make ceramics indispensable in modern engineering and technology. Just like paper money, digital currencies can also be lost. An estimated 20% of all. Bitcoin, about 3.7 million coins, is lost forever due to forgotten passwords, misplaced wallets, or discarded hard drives. One infamous case involves a man in the UK who accidentally threw away a hard drive containing 7,500 bitcoins, now worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Efforts to recover lost coins are often futile, as blockchain technology makes transactions irreversible and access to wallets nearly impossible without the correct keys. This highlights the importance of securely storing digital assets and the permanence of blockchain-based systems. DuckDuckGo, launched in 2008, rose to prominence due to its commitment to user privacy. Unlike most search engines, it doesn't track user activity, store personal data, or build targeted advertising profiles. This focus became especially relevant after Edward Snowden's 2013 revelations about global surveillance programs, which spurred concerns over data security. The search engine grew from handling 1 million daily queries in 2012 to over 100 million by 2021. Its growing user base highlights the increasing demand for privacy in a digital age dominated by companies like Google, which collect vast amounts of user data to refine algorithms and personalize ads. Ducks can survive in almost any environment. They are highly adaptable and can thrive in diverse environments, from Arctic tundras to desert regions. Their waterproof feathers, coated with oil from the preen gland, allow them to survive cold waters. Species like the northern pinetail migrate thousands of miles, showcasing their ability to endure harsh conditions. They can also tolerate extreme temperatures, using metabolic adjustments to cope with heat or cold. They have a unique system of blood vessels in their legs that allows them to exchange heat. This prevents frostbite in their extremities. Their habitat is mostly water or near water areas. Thus, they can cope well with summers too. The cost of a cup of coffee brewed from beans is $1 at max, but it can be sold for over $5 in a cafe. The significant price markup is due to added expenses such as labor, rent, overhead costs, marketing, and the cafe experience itself. The raw materials, including coffee beans, milk, and sugar, make up only a small portion of the total price. The rest reflects the value added by the establishment's branding, location, and service. And merely the experience of a coffee cafe can cost you an extra $1. You'd better brew your beans at home at this point. In 1793, revolutionaries replaced the Gregorian calendar with the French Republican calendar to de-Christianize society. The new system divided the year into 12 months of 30 days each, named after natural elements like Thermidor heat and Brumaire fog. Weeks lasted 10 days, abolishing Sundays and religious holidays to weaken the Catholic Church's influence. Each day had a new name linked to plants, tools, or animals, further severing ties to traditional timekeeping. This system caused widespread confusion and disrupted daily life, especially for farmers and merchants. The calendar was abolished in 1805 by Napoleon. Due to its impracticality, this calendar proved to be just a mere burden on French society. Romans dined at triclinium tables, semicircular setups paired with couches for reclining while eating. These tables symbolized wealth and luxury, often crafted from marble or adorned with intricate mosaics. Reclining during meals was reserved for the elite, as lower-class citizens sat upright or ate standing. This dining posture, though prestigious, was ergonomically flawed, leading to digestive issues. Romans used these tables for lavish banquets where excess food was common, sometimes leading to vomiting to continue feasting. Who wouldn't want to gurgle out a donut to make space for some delicious pasta? Have you ever heard about a 13-inch race that takes the participants several minutes to complete? This quirky event, originating in the UK, involves snails crawling across a table toward a finish line. The World Snail Racing Championships have been held annually since the 1960s in Congham, England. Participants mark their snails with numbers, and the athletes are timed over a distance of 13 inches. The world record, set in 1995, stands at 2 minutes. While seemingly absurd, snail racing has its own strategies, with competitors carefully selecting snails based on shell size and activity levels. This slow-motion race gathers a considerable amount of audience. Camel racing is not just a sport, it's a major industry in countries like the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. It dates back thousands of years, having evolved from traditional Bedouin races across the desert. Today, it's a billion-dollar enterprise, with races being held regularly, drawing large crowds and significant media attention. The annual King's Camel Cup, for example, can offer up to $10 million in prizes. Betting on camel races has also become highly popular. Despite its ancient roots, camel racing has kept pace with modernity, mixing tradition with high-tech equipment like robotic jockeys and advanced training methods. It attracts wealthy patrons and sponsors globally. Anime can help pupils learn in a joyous environment. The anime cells at work. Hataraku Saibu creatively personifies human body cells to explain biology. It depicts immune cells like white blood cells battling pathogens such as bacteria and viruses, dramatizing complex medical conditions like cancer, heat stroke, and allergies. For example, cancer cells are shown as villains threatening the body, while platelets appear as adorable workers repairing injuries. The show has been praised by medical professionals for its surprising accuracy in portraying biological processes, including inflammation and immune responses. Its educational value has led to its use in classrooms as a teaching aid, making challenging concepts accessible. Please subscribe to help me improve the video quality for you guys. It means a lot even if you just subscribe. The first action movie was just 12 minutes long. Filmed at the dawn of the 19th century, the film The Great Train Robbery is considered the first action movie. It was a silent western featuring groundbreaking stunts like actors jumping off moving trains. Directed by Edwin Porter, the film used innovative techniques like cross-cut editing to build tension between scenes. The famous shot of a bandit firing directly at the audience shocked viewers and cemented the film's legacy. This first attempt at filming action introduced explosions and chases that could captivate audiences long before soundtracks, CGI, or high-speed car chases became the norm. National Pillow Fight Day, celebrated on the first Saturday of April, involves people gathering in public spaces to engage in friendly pillow fights. People find new and innovative ways to take a break from their daily routines. The event, which started in 2008 in San Francisco, has spread globally as a fun way for people to interact, exercise, and release stress. Participants organize via social media, often arriving with soft pillows to engage in a lighthearted battle. While the event is a playful activity, it has become a symbol of community engagement. The silver sixpence has long been a symbol of luck and prosperity in marriage, particularly in British tradition. Dating back to the 16th century, it became an important part of wedding customs, symbolizing wealth, good fortune, and happiness for the couple. According to the old rhyme, something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue, and a silver sixpence in her shoe, the bride would place the coin in her shoe on her wedding day to bring blessings of financial prosperity and enduring happiness. The silver sixpence is often passed down as a family heirloom from grandmas to granddaughters. In many cultures, fans have served as a subtle form of communication, particularly in Asia and Europe. Known as fan language or fan signaling, people could convey messages or emotions without speaking. The movements of a fan, such as the way it was opened, closed, or held, had specific meanings. For example, in 19th century Victorian society, fans could convey messages like, "I am available for conversation," or "I love you." In Japan, the folding fansensu was used to convey gestures during theatrical performances, such as kabuki, to symbolize actions or emotions, adding an element of non-verbal storytelling. While jasmine is often associated with its pleasant fragrance, its flowers are also edible and used in cooking, especially in Asian and Middle Eastern cuisines. Jasmine petals can be added to salads, desserts, or teas. Jasmine rice, a long-grain variety commonly found in Thai cuisine, gets its signature scent from jasmine flowers. The flowers themselves, when used fresh, have a mild, sweet flavor and are often infused into syrups or sauces to add a delicate floral note. Jasmine is also used to flavor desserts like ice cream or cakes. The world's biggest mirror is not man-made. Bolivia's Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat, becomes a massive natural mirror after rainfall. Spanning over 10,000 square kilometers, this flat, reflective surface perfectly mirrors the sky, creating an awe-inspiring illusion of walking on clouds. Formed by the evaporation of ancient lakes, the salt flat contains a thick crust of salt and minerals, making it one of the flattest surfaces on Earth. This natural phenomenon is so accurate that it's used to calibrate satellites. This marvel of nature attracts thousands of tourists annually. The Three Gorges Dam in China slowed the Earth's rotation. The world's largest hydroelectric dam holds so much water, 39 trillion kilograms, that it altered the planet's rotation slightly. The reservoir's mass shifted Earth's moment of inertia, increasing the length of a day by about 0.06 microseconds. While imperceptible to humans, this phenomenon demonstrates how massive structures can influence global systems. The dam also displaced over 1.2 million people and submerged cultural sites. Despite its benefits in generating renewable energy, the dam's construction sparked controversy over environmental destruction and seismic risks. Beavers build their dams, and they're massive. Despite being small, they have a huge impact on landscapes. They are nature's engineers, constructing dams out of wood, mud, and debris to create ponds for their homes. The largest known beaver dam, discovered in Alberta, Canada, is over half a mile long. It's visible from space and has likely been under construction for decades by generations of beavers. These dams help create ecosystems, providing habitats for various species and improving water quality by filtering debris. However, beaver dams sometimes flood human infrastructure, causing conflicts with farmers and developers. You can lose land ownership by doing nothing. Adverse possession laws allow someone to claim ownership of land if they occupy it openly, continuously, and without permission for a set period. This squatters' rights principle exists in many countries, dating back to English common law. For instance, in the US, if someone uses another person's land for a decade without dispute, they may legally claim it. Adverse possession cases range from simple misunderstandings to elaborate schemes. These laws aim to encourage the productive use of land, but can result in bizarre legal battles. This is viewed as a flaw in the legal system by many. Cow dung has been used as a building material for centuries. Often mixed with clay and straw, it has been a staple construction material in rural communities worldwide, especially in Africa, India, and parts of South America. This mixture creates adobe bricks or plasters that are durable, insulating, and insect repellent. Beyond homes, cow dung is used for flooring and wall finishes, offering a cheap and sustainable alternative to industrial materials. Recent eco-architecture movements have revisited these traditional methods to promote low-carbon construction. The practice is seemingly primitive, but may actually be highly efficient. Animal bones have been used as a building material in the past. In the 19th century, animal bones were repurposed to make bricks in parts of Europe and North America. These bone bricks involved grinding bones and mixing them with clay to create stronger, more durable materials. Bone bricks offered better insulation and were particularly useful in areas where traditional resources like stone or timber were scarce. Archaeologists have discovered remnants of these bricks in historic buildings, revealing how resourcefulness drove early construction practices. The use of animal remains for building also highlights a broader trend of reusing waste materials in innovative ways. The Aravello Ida holds the record for the fastest human-powered bicycle, reaching 144 kilometers per hour in 2016. Designed Designed like a rocket on wheels, it has an aerodynamic shell made from carbon fiber. Interestingly, the rider lies almost flat inside, pedaling horizontally to reduce air resistance. This specific design makes it inappropriate for practical use. Such records began with the 19th century penny farthing, whose large front wheel maximized speed. Modern racing bikes, by contrast, use lightweight titanium or aluminum frames. Even today, aerodynamic studies for bicycles borrow techniques from Formula One, emphasizing minimal drag. Despite its distinct rotten egg smell, natural gas is naturally odorless. The smell comes from an additive called mercaptan, introduced to help detect leaks. This practice began after a deadly 1937 Texas school explosion caused by an undetected gas leak. Natural gas is primarily methane, a potent greenhouse gas. It's lighter than air, making it rise and dissipate quickly when leaked. Used since ancient China, where bamboo pipes transported it, natural gas powers over 50% of U.S. homes today. With its role in energy production, it's being studied for carbon capture technologies to reduce its environmental impact. The null and void interstellar space as we know it isn't empty. It's filled with gas and dust, called the interstellar medium. This gas, mostly hydrogen and helium, forms the raw material for stars. In dense regions, gravity causes gas clouds to collapse, igniting nuclear fusion and creating stars. Some bizarre gas clouds emit radio waves like Sagittarius B2 near the Milky Way's center, which contains enough alcohol to fill 400 trillion pints of beer. Nebulae, like the Orion Nebula, are vivid examples of gas illuminated by nearby stars. Meanwhile, dark clouds, like the Horsehead Nebula, obscure light due to dense gas and dust. The heaviest doors in the world can weigh as much as 20 cars. Located at California's Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, they weigh 44 tons each. These massive doors shield radiation in the National Ignition Facility, where nuclear fusion experiments are conducted. Despite their weight, they can be opened with a single finger thanks to precision engineering and bearings. Doors like these are critical in research and defense facilities, protecting against hazardous exposure. Historically, massive doors were also common in medieval castles, reinforced with iron to resist sieges. Today, advanced materials like lead and tungsten are used in radiation doors. Male mice sing ultrasonic songs to attract mates. Humans are not the only ones expressing themselves with pleasant sound. These love songs are complex, featuring distinct syllables and patterns unique to each mouse. While we can't hear them without special equipment, researchers discovered these songs in the 1950s. Interestingly, stressed or socially isolated mice sing less frequently, showing how emotions affect their behavior. Just like humans, their cheerfulness is affected by their stress levels. Mouse vocalizations also help scientists study human speech disorders, as mice share certain genetic similarities with humans. The world's longest hiccup episode lasted 68 years. Must have been uncomfortable, to say the least. Charles Osborne, an American farmer, began hiccuping in 1922 after a fall while weighing a pig. The spasms persisted at a rate of 40 times per minute, eventually slowing to 20. Despite visiting doctors, no cure was found. He hiccuped an estimated 430 million times until they mysteriously stopped in 1990, a year before his death. Hiccups, or singultus, result from involuntary diaphragm spasms. They can be triggered by several factors, including overeating, sudden temperature changes, or even emotional stress. The first mouse wasn't created for computers, but for radar systems. Its ancestor, the trackball, was invented in 1946 for military use and featured a bowling ball-sized roller to navigate radar screens. In 1968, Douglas Engelbart introduced the first computer mouse, a wooden device with two wheels. The modern optical mouse, which replaced the ball mechanism with light sensors, was developed by Microsoft in 1999. Laptop touchpads appeared in the early 1990s when Apple introduced the PowerBook series, marking the transition from external mice. These early touchpads weren't pressure sensitive, but relied on capacitance, detecting the electrical properties of fingers, a principle still central to modern touch technologies in various devices. Water demonstrates strange behaviors, including the Mpemba effect, where hot water sometimes freezes faster than cold water under certain conditions, entirely defying the norms of the behavior of water. First observed by Tanzanian student Erasto Mpemba in 1963, this phenomenon defies intuition and puzzled scientists for decades. Proposed explanations include increased evaporation, reducing the volume of hot water, faster heat transfer due to convection currents, and the influence of dissolved gases altering freezing dynamics. However, no single theory fully explains the effect across all scenarios. Researchers are still trying to solve this watery mystery. Old clothes have been used to make paper in the past. Before wood pulp became the standard, early European paper was made from recycled linen and cotton rags. Rag pickers collected discarded clothes, which were processed into fibers for paper making. This practice became so essential that paper shortages often occurred during wars when fabric was scarce. In the mid-19th century, wood pulp replaced rags as the primary material due to industrialization. However, the high-quality, durable paper made from cotton and linen rags is still used today for special documents like banknotes and archival materials. The human community has always relied on creative resourcefulness and recycling to secure its written essentials. Archaeologists unearthed shell beads in Morocco dating back 150,000 years, making them the oldest known jewelry. These perforated shells, likely strung into necklaces or bracelets, show that early humans valued self-adornment long before written history. The beads were made from Nassarius shells, which were deliberately selected and modified, suggesting symbolic use beyond decoration. These adornments likely served as markers of social status, personal identity, or group membership, functioning as one of humanity's earliest forms of communication. The discovery highlights the integration of jewelry into human expression, predating tools like written language. Medieval England made archery a mandatory skill for men. In 1363, King Edward III decreed that all men aged 17 to 60 practice archery, ensuring a ready military force. The law was so strict that other activities, including soccer, were banned on Sundays to prioritize longbow training. English longbowmen, renowned for their expertise, could shoot over 182 meters with enough force to penetrate armor. Their skill secured decisive victories in battles like Agincourt and Crécy during the 100 Years' War, making the longbow a symbol of English military strength, and its widespread use influenced the European course of history. 18-karat gold can conduct electricity in space. Gold's unmatched conductivity, resistance to corrosion, and malleability make it essential in aerospace engineering. Thin gold coatings are applied to satellites, spacecraft, and astronaut visors to reflect harmful radiation. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope used a gold-coated mirror for its infrared capabilities, as gold efficiently reflects infrared light. Surprisingly, 18-karat gold was developed as a strong yet conductive material for space connectors and circuits. It's softer than other metals but can tolerate extremely high temperatures. That is why gold foil is used to insulate space probes from extreme temperatures. Its low thermal conductivity and high emissivity allows it to absorb and reflect cold temperatures too. Bitcoin mining consumes an estimated 121 terawatt-hours of electricity annually, surpassing the energy use of countries like Argentina. This is due to the computational power required to solve complex algorithms that validate transactions on the blockchain. The process involves high-powered computers running continuously, contributing to significant carbon emissions. Critics highlight this environmental cost as a major flaw, leading to debates about sustainable alternatives. Some cryptocurrencies, like Ethereum, have transitioned to energy-efficient validation systems, but the ecological impact of digital currency mining remains a pressing concern. Underwater volcanoes are capable of triggering deadly tsunamis. The Krakatoa eruption in 1883 caused massive waves that killed tens of thousands, even though the volcano itself was partially underwater. When submarine eruptions displace large volumes of water, they generate waves that can travel thousands of miles. In addition, volcanic collapses and pyroclastic flows entering the sea can intensify these waves. Even underwater landslides caused by volcanic activity can create localized but devastating tsunamis. Submarine volcanoes pose a greater threat that is often harder to monitor compared to their terrestrial counterparts due to their deep-sea locations. And Switzerland, often viewed as a progressive nation, didn't grant women the right to vote at the federal level until 1971. While some regions allowed local voting earlier, others resisted, citing tradition and family values. The final region, Appenzell-Innerrhoden, was forced to grant women voting rights in 1991 after a federal court ruling. Globally, New Zealand was the first country to allow women to vote in 1893. The Swiss delay highlights the patchwork of progress in women's suffrage worldwide, proving that even advanced democracies can lag behind in ensuring equal rights. The hemostat is one of the most essential surgical instruments developed in the 19th century to control bleeding during procedures. Before its invention, surgeons used sponges, ligatures, or even clamps to stop bleeding, which were often inefficient and time-consuming in a situation where 1 second could be the difference between life and death. The hemostat, designed with a locking mechanism that could securely clamp blood vessels, offered a more reliable way to control hemorrhaging. Its invention allowed for more intricate surgeries, particularly during wartime when injuries were severe. Modern hemostats come in a variety of types and sizes, with the most commonly known being the mosquito hemostat, which is used for small, delicate vessels. Not all heart attacks are caused by clogged arteries. Emotional distress or a torn artery can also make the heart go numb. Spontaneous coronary artery dissection is a condition where the artery tears, reducing blood flow and causing a heart attack. This rare condition mostly affects younger women, particularly those who are pregnant or postpartum. Sometimes it is cured on its own, but often surgical procedures may also be required. Stress-induced cardiomyopathy, also known as broken heart syndrome, is another type of heart attack triggered by extreme emotional stress rather than physical blockages. Who knew that a breakup could be fatal? Hydrogen fuel cells generate electricity by combining hydrogen and oxygen, producing only water and heat as byproducts. They offer a clean energy alternative with applications in transportation, industry, and power generation. Hydrogen is an energy carrier, not a primary energy source, meaning it must first be produced, commonly via natural gas reforming or water electrolysis. Electrolysis, powered by renewable renewable energy, produces green hydrogen, crucial for reducing carbon emissions. Despite its promise, challenges include the high cost of production, which is often higher than other energy sources like solar panels. This limits refueling infrastructure and poses difficulties in storage due to hydrogen's low density. Historic paintings were breathtaking in a literal sense. In the 18th and 19th centuries, arsenic-based pigments, particularly Scheele's green, were used to create vibrant colors in wallpapers, fabrics, and paints. The damp conditions of homes allowed molds to grow on these wallpapers, releasing arsenic-laced gases into the air. This led to chronic poisoning, with symptoms including headaches, nausea, and respiratory issues. Some historians speculate that Napoleon Bonaparte's death in exile may have been partly due to arsenic exposure from his wallpaper. The widespread use of arsenic in interior design was due to a lack of awareness regarding its toxic properties, which caused unintentional harm to countless individuals. Learning a language can alter the brain shape. Neurolinguistics proves that learning a second language alters brain structure. Bilinguals often have a denser gray matter in the brain's left hemisphere, linked to language processing. Fascinatingly, the earlier a language is learned, the greater the structural impact, especially in areas like the hippocampus, the area of the brain associated with memory, and the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain associated with decision-making. Studies also reveal bilingual brains show slower cognitive decline with age. The constant mental juggling between languages boosts executive function, offering enhanced multitasking abilities. Remarkably, even individuals learning a new language in adulthood can experience these neurological benefits, making the brain more adaptable and resilient. Water bottles were first made of animal skins. The earliest water bottles date back to ancient times, with humans using animal skins, bladders, or gourds to carry water. Not only were they lightweight, but also prevented water from evaporation. Ancient Greeks used wineskins made from goat stomachs, while Native Americans hollowed out gourds to create lightweight water containers. These early bottles were efficient but required regular maintenance to stay watertight. The transition to glass and ceramics in the Roman Empire marked a significant advancement, offering durability and reusability. Modern plastic and stainless steel bottles trace their roots back to these primitive designs. Sailors often faced a mysterious fatal disease. In the age of exploration, scurvy decimated crews, often killing more sailors than battles or shipwrecks. Caused by a lack of vitamin C, symptoms included swollen gums, tooth loss, and even open wounds. For centuries, sailors didn't know the cure, blaming bad air or cursed waters. It wasn't until the 18th century that James Lind proved citrus fruits could prevent scurvy, saving countless lives. Before this discovery, scurvy killed millions, with some ships losing 90% of their crew. Lemons and limes became so critical that British sailors earned the nickname limeys. Ironically, the solution was cheap and available but ignored for centuries. Nitrogen narcosis, often called the rapture of the deep, is a condition that affects divers at depths exceeding 30 meters. It occurs because increased pressure causes nitrogen in the breathing gas to dissolve into the bloodstream and tissues at higher concentrations. This leads to symptoms similar to alcohol intoxication, including euphoria, impaired judgment, and confusion. The deeper a diver descends, the more pronounced the effects become, potentially resulting in dangerous decisions or accidents. To mitigate this, technical divers use helium-oxygen mixes, as helium has minimal narcotic effects compared to nitrogen. Thus, divers need special equipment just to stay conscious underwater. This phenomenon illustrates how extreme underwater pressure profoundly alters human physiology. An entire town in Wyoming was privately owned. In 2012, Buford, Wyoming was sold to a Vietnamese businessman for $100,000. Nguyen made international news when he bought Buford in an online auction. It included a gas station, a convenience store, a house, and 10 acres of land. Originally a railroad town with 2,000 residents, Buford dwindled to a single inhabitant by 2007. The sale made headlines as one of the few instances of an entire town changing hands. Small towns being privately owned isn't uncommon in the US, as some are sold for tourism or development. And just because someone owns a handsome amount of money to own a town, there is a museum dedicated to the failures of mankind. The Museum of Failure in Sweden houses over 150 failed innovations, including the infamous Coca-Cola Black, coffee-flavored Coke, and Colgate's frozen lasagna. It celebrates flops as crucial steps towards success, aiming to change perceptions of failure. Surprisingly, the museum has been wildly successful, attracting international visitors and sparking debates about corporate risk-taking. Its exhibits are constantly updated, showing that even modern companies aren't immune to failure. For example, Google Glass and the Apple Newton are both iconic tech failures. This museum's popularity underscores the human fascination with missteps and the lessons they teach. Using a pacifier during sleep has been shown to reduce the risk of sudden infant death syndrome, though the exact mechanism is still debated. Researchers suggest that pacifiers help by keeping the airway open, promoting lighter sleep patterns, or preventing suffocation by maintaining tongue position. This protective effect is significant enough for organizations like the American Academy of Pediatrics to recommend pacifier use during naps and bedtime for infants under 1 year 9-year-old. However, parents are cautioned not to attach pacifiers to strings or necklaces due to strangulation risks. The Academy also advises against forcing pacifier use, particularly if breastfeeding is well established, as improper timing could interfere with feeding success. Leggings, once a staple of men's fashion, originated in the 14th century. Back then, they were worn by European men as tight-fitting garments beneath tunics or as part of armor, as visible in paintings of many historic figures like King Henry VIII. These early leggings, typically made from wool, leather, or silk, were used to protect the legs and maintain warmth. The transition to women's fashion didn't occur until the 1960s, when the women's movement embraced them for comfort and practicality. By the 1980s, leggings gained massive popularity among women as both casual wear and active wear. Leggings are exclusively associated with women's wardrobes. Anne Boleyn's role in shaping England's religious future is undeniable. Her influence on the English Reformation was pivotal, though her religious views remain debated. Her marriage to Henry VIII in 1533 led directly to England's split from the Catholic Church, an event that would change the course of English history. Anne, who was sympathetic to Protestant reformers, provided Henry with political and religious support in his quest for a male heir. While Anne herself was never fully Protestant, she promoted reformist ideas at court. Her daughter Elizabeth I would later solidify Protestantism in England, ensuring that Anne's influence continued long after her death. There is an abandoned housing society of mansions, Burj Al Babas, a housing project in Turkey that features 587 abandoned castles resembling Disney-style mansions. Built to attract wealthy investors, the $200 million project collapsed in 2018 due to financial issues. The eerie, unfinished development now sits as a modern-day ghost town. Each villa was supposed to include luxurious features like spiral staircases and private pools, but economic instability halted construction. Today, the site attracts urban explorers and photographers, standing as a cautionary tale of overambitious real estate ventures. Despite its failure, plans to revive the project occasionally resurface, though skepticism remains high. Beards can cause diseases. While beards are often seen as a sign of masculinity or fashion, they can also harbor bacteria. Studies have found that beards contain a variety of microorganisms, some of which are harmless, but others can cause infections. In one study, researchers found that bearded men had more bacteria on their facial hair than clean-shaven men, though this didn't necessarily lead to health problems. Regular grooming, including washing and trimming, can help maintain hygiene and prevent the buildup of bacteria. Beards have even been linked to transmitting illnesses like colds or flu. Gold is literally stardust. It forms during cataclysmic cosmic events like supernovae or neutron star collisions. The extreme conditions create heavy elements like gold, which then disperse into space. Billions of years ago, this stardust became part of Earth during its formation, embedding gold within the planet's crust. Most of Earth's gold, however, sank to the core during the planet's early molten state, making surface gold even rarer. Meteorite impacts brought additional gold deposits to the surface, which ancient civilizations mined. Every piece of gold you see is billions of years old, and a remnant of stellar explosions. Artificial intelligence is sexist and biased. These systems trained on historical data often inherit human prejudices. For example, Amazon's recruitment AI was shut down in 2018 after it was found to discriminate against women, favoring male candidates for tech jobs. Similarly, facial recognition systems have shown significantly higher error rates for people with darker skin tones. This is due to the data used to train the algorithms, which often lacks diversity. These cases highlight that AI reflects the biases of its creators or datasets and can perpetuate systemic discrimination. Efforts to address these issues have led to stricter regulations and more inclusive training data. Drumming can boost brain function. Studies have shown that drumming can have significant effects on the brain, improving cognitive function, memory, and emotional well-being. Drumming engages both hemispheres of the brain simultaneously, requiring complex coordination between the hands, feet, and brain. This coordination helps strengthen neural pathways and improve motor skills. Additionally, drumming has been shown to reduce stress and promote a sense of relaxation by releasing endorphins, the body's natural feel-good chemicals. Drumming is also used in therapeutic practices such as music therapy, where it helps individuals with conditions like PTSD, anxiety, and depression. I'm almost out of facts. Comment down below what's your favorite fact so far. Edible gold has been consumed for centuries. Gold, in its pure form, is non-toxic and safe to eat. Ancient Egyptians believed ingesting gold could purify the body and spirit, often including it in rituals. During the Renaissance, European royalty consumed gold leaf-covered foods to display wealth and indulge in the belief that gold had health benefits. Today, gold leaf and flakes are used in gourmet dishes, cocktails, and desserts, adding visual flair and luxury without altering taste. The metal passes through the body without being absorbed, making it a status symbol rather than a nutritional element. Edible gold is regulated to ensure purity, emphasizing its ornamental purpose. dangerous. Drums are not always the indication of fun, and entertainment can be deadly. While drums are typically associated with music and rhythm, in some cultures they've had a dark and deadly purpose. The death drum was historically used in some military and tribal cultures as an execution tool. In ancient China, drums were used in executions, where the sound of the drum would signal the death of a criminal. Similarly, in some African traditions, the sound of a drum would signal a ritual sacrifice. The intense, powerful beats of these drums were often designed to induce fear, amplifying their association with death and the supernatural. Saudi Arabia was the last country in the world to grant women the right to drive, implementing this right on June 2018. Until then, women depended on male guardians or hired drivers for transportation, limiting their mobility and independence. The ban's removal was part of broader reforms under Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, though critics noted ongoing restrictions, such as male guardianship laws. The change marked a significant milestone, but also highlighted the region's slow pace in granting basic rights. Globally, driving remains a symbol of personal freedom. Rugby players once wore helmets made of leather. Before the advent of modern helmets, American football players wore helmets made of leather. These early helmets were more like soft caps than the hard shell helmets we are familiar with today. The idea of protecting players' heads emerged in the early 20th century after a series of brutal injuries. Leather helmets, introduced in the 1890s, were supposed to reduce head injuries, but they offered minimal protection. It wasn't until the 1940s that hard shell helmets became mandatory, changing the safety standards of the sport and ultimately saving countless players from concussions and head trauma. For most of human history, people didn't have toilet paper as we know it today. In ancient times, civilizations used a variety of materials, including leaves, stones, and even seashells. The use of paper for cleaning purposes didn't become widespread until the 15th century in China, where paper began to be manufactured in sheets for hygiene. However, it wasn't until the late 19th century that toilet paper became mass-produced and commercially available in the United States. Before that, people often used alternatives such as corn cobs, old newspapers, and fabric. Today, toilet paper is a household essential, though alternatives like bidets are growing in popularity. First eyeglasses were invented only for reading. The earliest eyeglasses, invented in the late 13th century in Italy, were designed only for reading, not for distance vision. These glasses were held up to the eyes and helped people with presbyopia see small prints or details clearly. It wasn't until the 18th century that prescription glasses designed to correct distance vision emerged. In fact, the first recorded instance of corrective lenses Franklin invented bifocals in the 18th century, combining both reading and distance lenses into one pair of glasses to address both needs. The invention of sticky notes is a result of a serendipitous accident. In 1968, 3M scientist Spencer Silver was working on developing a super strong adhesive, but ended up creating a weak adhesive instead, one that stuck temporarily and could be removed without leaving a residue. At the time, the adhesive had no obvious use, and 3M dismissed the idea. However, in 1974, Arthur Fry, another 3M employee, realized the potential for the adhesive when he struggled to mark pages in his hymnal without damaging them. Fry began using the adhesive to create small, removable notes, and together with Silver, they developed the product we now know as Post-it notes, which launched in 1980. Candles did not always smell pleasant. Before the widespread use of wax, candles were made from animal fats like tallow, derived from beef or sheep fat. These early candles were inexpensive, but produced a smoky flame and unpleasant odor. The shift to beeswax candles occurred during the Middle Ages, as beeswax burns cleaner, with a brighter, more pleasant flame and no offensive smell. Beeswax candles were primarily used by churches, monasteries, and the wealthy, while tallow candles remained the choice for the common folk. Eventually, the development of stearin from animal fats in the 19th century helped improve candle performance, leading to modern wax-based candles. Cryptocurrency started as a joke and became valuable over time. Dogecoin, a cryptocurrency featuring the Shiba Inu meme, was created in 2013 as a parody of Bitcoin. Initially worth fractions of a cent, Dogecoin gained unexpected popularity through online communities and endorsements from public figures like Elon Musk. In 2021, it reached a market capitalization of over $85 billion during a speculative trading frenzy. Despite its humorous origins, Dogecoin is now used for real-world transactions and charitable causes, proving that even a meme-based currency can achieve global recognition and financial significance. While eggshells are often discarded, they have many uses. They are packed with calcium and other minerals, making them valuable in other areas. Ground-up eggshells are often used in gardening as a natural fertilizer, helping to improve soil structure and deter pests. The shells also serve as a in some cultures, eggshells are even used in folk medicine as a remedy for various ailments like joint pain due to their calcium content. So, next time you crack an egg, consider the shell's potential instead of tossing it. And maybe consider being grateful to the hen too. Trees in the savanna talk to each other. Certain savanna trees like acacias can chemically communicate when under threat. For example, if giraffes start nibbling on their leaves, the trees release ethylene gas to warn nearby trees of the danger. These neighboring trees then increase their tannin production, making their leaves taste bitter and deterring herbivores. herbivores. This form of chemical warfare is a rare survival mechanism in nature. A candle can burn for over 100 hours. Some special candles, particularly those made from highly refined waxes, can burn for extraordinary amounts of time. The world record for the longest burning candle is over 200 hours. In commercial production, candles designed for long burn times often feature multiple wicks and high-quality waxes like soy or beeswax. These special kinds of wax burn slower than traditional paraffin wax. These long-lasting candles are particularly popular in religious ceremonies or during power outages, offering both light and an enduring presence. Interestingly, the longer a candle burns, the more it becomes a symbol of endurance, patience, and even meditation. Eggs can be fried without heat. In a bizarre twist of science, eggs can be fried without heat. This can be achieved through a process called frying, with a chemical reaction using substances like liquid nitrogen or even alcohol. Scientists have demonstrated that by applying super cold temperatures, egg whites and yolks can become solidified and take on a similar texture to traditionally fried eggs. This process involves freezing the egg rather than cooking it with heat, creating an interesting paradox of fried eggs that don't involve any heat at all. This might not be edible, but it's a fun science experiment. The Aztecs used death whistles for psychological warfare. Aztec warriors carried bone-crafted death whistles designed to emit horrifying, human-like screams. These instruments were played during rituals and battles to strike terror into the hearts of enemies. The sound is so haunting it has been likened to the cries of tortured souls. Some archaeologists believe these whistles were also used in ceremonies to honor the gods of death and the underworld. Found in burial sites, their eerie tones offer a chilling reminder of how ancient civilizations understood and manipulated sound for psychological impact. The largest open-pit mine is visible from space. The Bingham Canyon Mine in Utah, USA holds the title for the largest man-made excavation on Earth, and it's so massive that it's visible from space. Spanning 2.5 miles wide and over 3,000 feet deep, this open-pit copper mine produces more copper than any other mine in the world. The scale of the operation is mind-blowing, with millions of tons of earth being moved annually. The mine's sheer size has earned it the nickname the richest hole on Earth. The drawer was originally a term for the action. It didn't originally refer to the piece of furniture, but to the action of drawing or pulling out something. In the early 16th century, drawer was used to describe someone who drew or pulled something, often related to money, from a container or chest. It wasn't until the 17th century that the term evolved from an action word to a noun. The drawer is now used to refer to the small, sliding compartment in furniture, which is still used today. The world's most expensive perfume, Shumu, costs $1.29 million per bottle. Crafted in Dubai, the fragrance contains rare ingredients like sandalwood, musk, and Indian agar wood. Its bottle is adorned with diamonds, gold, and pearls, making it as much a piece of art as a scent. Luxury perfumes often use rare animal-derived ingredients, such as ambergris from sperm whales or civet musk from small mammals, sparking ethical controversies. Modern alternatives now include synthetic versions of these scents, preserving the olfactory richness without harming wildlife. Breathing oxygen can become hazardous in some cases. Breathing pure oxygen at high pressures, underwater, can lead to oxygen toxicity, causing seizures, hallucinations, or confusion. This condition becomes a concern in dives below 60 feet, especially if oxygen levels are too high in the breathing mix. Technical divers use carefully calculated gas blends, such as trimix, a mixture of helium, oxygen, and nitrogen, to minimize this risk. The problem arises from oxygen becoming a reactive substance under pressure, affecting the central nervous system. Wombats, those cute burrowing marsupials from Australia, produce cube-shaped poop, a bizarre and unique trait in the animal kingdom. The cube shape helps the poop stay put and not roll away, which is vital in the wombat's burrowing lifestyle. The cubes are thought to mark territory, and their distinctive shape is created in the wombat's intestines, which are unusually long and have a very slow digestive process. This slow digestion allows the wombat to extract the maximum amount of water from its food, which is crucial in the dry Australian environment. Just like human besties, cows have favorites. Often thought of as solitary animals, they have been shown to form deep social bonds with their peers and have best friends. In studies, cows exhibit clear preferences for certain individuals, often choosing to spend more time with specific cows rather than others. These friendships are significant enough that when separated from their best friends, cows show signs of stress, such as increased heart rate and anxious behavior. Keys influenced modern encryption. The concept of keys isn't limited to physical objects. It extends to digital security. Cryptographic keys, used in modern encryption, borrow their name and concept from physical keys. Just as a key opens a lock, cryptographic keys decrypt encoded data, ensuring secure communication over the internet. Public and private key systems are the backbone of online transaction, making e-commerce and digital privacy possible. And that's it for today. Tell me your favorite fact in the comments below. If you're new, please subscribe. Oh, and if you're feeling extra useless, consider buying the useless mug. Until then, the useless guy.
Dinosaurs ruled the Earth for millions of years, and their unique adaptations still fascinate us today. For instance, did you know that the T-Rex had large holes in its skull, likely filled with tissue and blood vessels? Scientists believe these worked as a natural cooling system, allowing the T-Rex to regulate its body temperature and thrive. And that's just the first of 101 mind-blowing facts we've got for you. Make sure to watch until the end to have your mind blown with surprises. Researchers at the Free Library of Philadelphia uncovered a copy of Shakespeare's plays that may have once belonged to the famous author John Milton. This discovery was confirmed after Cambridge lecturer Jason Scott Warren identified distinctive annotations in the book that matched Milton's handwriting, leading to a deeper understanding of Milton's literary interactions and influence. In the book Letters from Hollywood, newly uncovered letters include one from actress Hattie McDaniel defending her roles in films like Gone with the Wind. McDaniel, a trailblazer in Hollywood, emphasized that portraying a maid on screen was a legitimate and honest way to earn a living. A study of the Chicxulub crater, the site of the asteroid impact that led to the extinction of the dinosaurs, confirmed that within minutes of the impact, the area was covered by over 100 feet of molten rock. Shortly after, ocean waters flooded in, depositing another 300 feet of rock, and the resulting tsunami had catastrophic effects. This event reshaped the Earth's ecosystems and led to the mass extinction that wiped out the dinosaurs. The Embopteryx longobrachium, a 13-inch long dinosaur with bat-like wings, lived 163 million years ago. This discovery reveals how wing evolution was more experimental in early species before the dominance of bird-like wings. The fossil shows an intermediate form of flight. In Poland, researchers discovered a forest of bent pine trees where the trunks curve sharply at the base before growing upright. The cause of this unusual deformation remains a mystery, sparking curiosity and various theories, including natural phenomena or even human intervention. The urge to share personal stories on social media is deeply rooted in human nature. It stems from the desire for recognition and connection. Sharing one's thoughts and experiences activates reward centers in the brain, creating feelings of pleasure and reinforcing self-expression. The introduction of standardized birth certificates in the US resulted in a significant drop in the number of people reported as supercentenarians, with a 69 to 82% decrease. This suggests that many individuals over 110 may not have been as old as previously thought due to inaccurate or incomplete birth records before the implementation of standardized documentation. The popular 10,000-hour rule, which suggests that mastery in any field requires 10,000 hours of practice, was challenged by a 2019 study. Researchers found that some violinists practiced as much as top performers, but still failed to reach their level. This suggests that practice alone isn't enough for mastery, and other factors like innate talent and technique also play key roles. A study demonstrated that sharing your goals with someone you perceive as higher status, such as a mentor or expert, can significantly increase your commitment to achieving those goals. The perception of authority or expertise in the person you share your goals with creates a sense of accountability, motivating you to follow through on your intentions. Employees who engage in hobbies outside of work, such as sports, volunteering, or creative activities, tend to be more proactive and productive during their work day. These activities help refresh the mind and reduce stress, boosting overall work performance. While extroverted leaders are often liked, a study involving 260 undergraduate participants revealed that when extroversion is combined with traits like excessive assertiveness or extreme warmth, the leader's popularity can decline. The study shows that the balance of leadership traits significantly impacts how others perceive and respond to leaders. People are more likely to act dishonestly if they perceive that being truthful requires extra effort. A study on workplace ethics found that when honesty is seen as difficult or requiring more work, individuals are more inclined to bend the truth. Most people date individuals with similar traits on the Big Five personality dimensions, such as agreeableness or conscientiousness, but those high in extroversion and openness to new people, who are more extroverted and open to new experiences, are less likely to stick to a specific type when choosing romantic partners. This tendency suggests that individuals who are open to novelty and change are more flexible in their preferences, not adhering to a consistent set of traits when seeking partners. Spending at least 120 minutes minutes outdoors each week has been shown to significantly enhance both physical health and mental well-being. Research demonstrates that regular exposure to nature, even in small doses, is crucial for reducing stress, boosting happiness, and improving overall mood. Nature acts as a natural remedy for the pressures of modern life. A theoretical concept for a space elevator that would connect Earth's low orbit to the moon requires a 200,000-mile-long cable. While the idea may sound like science fiction, it is scientifically plausible and could be constructed with existing technology. Such an elevator would revolutionize access to space, making travel to the moon more efficient and cost-effective. In 2019, scientists captured the first clear image of Arrokoth, a distant object located 4.1 billion miles away. Shaped like a snowman, this object, once known as MU-69, provided humanity with detailed insights into one of the furthest explored objects in the solar system, expanding our understanding of distant space bodies. On April 10, 2019, humanity saw a black hole for the first time. This historic image, captured from 54 million light-years away, revealed the shadow of a supermassive black hole at the center of the M87 galaxy. The groundbreaking achievement earned its creators the prestigious $3 million Breakthrough Prize in Fundamental Physics, marking a milestone in astrophysical research. In 2019, a recalculation of the Hubble constant suggested that the universe's expansion rate is faster than previously estimated. If this new value is correct, it would imply that the universe is 11.4 billion years old, significantly younger than the previously believed age of 13.7 billion years, shaking up long-standing cosmological theories. The moon, once thought to be 4.4 billion years old, has now been determined to be 4.51 billion years old. This new age estimate pushes back the moon's formation by about 100 million years. Additionally, scientists discovered that the moon is shrinking, causing moonquakes as it slowly contracts over time. Astronomers discovered a planet about the size of Jupiter orbiting a dwarf star, just 12% the size of our sun. This remarkable find, located 31 light-years away, challenges existing theories about planet formation around smaller stars. The discovery opens new possibilities for understanding the dynamics of planetary systems in the universe. A study on astronaut Scott Kelly's time aboard the International Space Station revealed that space travel temporarily alters the gut microbiome. The composition of bacteria in the gut changes due to the unique conditions in space. Although these changes normalize after returning to Earth, the study emphasizes the physiological impact prolonged space missions can have on astronauts, particularly on their digestive systems. In 2019, researchers discovered the earliest known protocluster of galaxies. This protocluster, which consists of 12 galaxies in the early stages of forming a gravitational cluster, offers a unique glimpse into the formation and evolution of galaxies and their larger structures. Researchers studying ancient stars in the Milky Way's halo confirmed that our galaxy absorbed a smaller one, about 25% of its size, during a collision billions of years ago. This cosmic merger played a key role in shaping the Milky Way's current structure. By studying the stars that originated from this smaller galaxy, scientists are able to trace the history and evolution of our galaxy. The iconic Abbey Road album cover by the Beatles, one of the most recognizable images in music history, was conceived only 2 days before the photo shoot. In a remarkable example of last-minute creativity, the image was captured with no pre-planning. A follow-up to A Clockwork Orange, titled The Clockwork Condition, was found among Anthony Burgess's papers. Additionally, J.R.R. Tolkien's unpublished work, Tolkien's Lost Chaucer, which features his commentary on Chaucer's writing, was uncovered in an Oxford basement and published in 2019. Samuel Clemens's signature was discovered in a Missouri cave after decades of searching. The 3-mile-long cave, known for inspiring the adventures of Tom Sawyer, contained the signature from Twain's younger years, a historic find for literature enthusiasts. The discovery of Cryodrachen boreas, a new pterosaur genus, revealed a massive reptile with a wingspan of at least 16 feet. Nicknamed the Ice Dragon, it lived in Alberta, Canada during the Cretaceous period and offers insights into the prehistoric skies. In 2019, researchers uncovered 257 Neanderthal footprints in France, dating back 80,000 years. These findings suggest Neanderthal groups typically range between 10 to 13 members. Denisovan DNA, extracted from a finger bone, allowed scientists to reconstruct an image of this ancient relative. The reconstruction revealed Denisovans shared similarities with both Neanderthals and modern humans, providing a clearer picture of their physical traits and evolutionary connections. In the town of Ramador, France, a house numbered -1 exists below street level under a cliff. When houses were numbered, ground level homes received 0 and 1, leaving this unique designation. It has since become a landmark and a curiosity for tourists. Studies show people spend about 60% of conversation time talking about themselves, a number that rises to 80% on social media. Parrots can mimic human speech with impressive accuracy, not by understanding words, but by memorizing sounds and rhythms. Some parrots can replicate dozens of phrases or even sing tunes, adding surprising and amusing elements to conversations with their owners. Whales communicate through complex songs that travel vast distances underwater. These vocalizations serve as a form of communication, helping them navigate, find mates, and coordinate with their pod. Each whale species has unique patterns and melodies in their songs. The platypus, one of Earth's strangest creatures, combines features of mammals, birds, and reptiles. This egg-laying mammal has a duck-like bill, webbed feet, and venomous spurs. Lions can sleep up to 20 hours daily, a result of their hunting habits. Being apex predators, they conserve energy for short bursts of intense activity, particularly during hunts. The long hours of rest allow lions to maintain the strength needed for their energy-intensive lifestyle, contributing to their impressive hunting capabilities. The word strengths holds the title of the longest word in the English language with only one vowel. Despite its simple appearance, this word is structurally unique and represents a fascinating linguistic puzzle. Icebergs are often much larger than they appear. While we see only a small portion of an iceberg above the water, 90% of its mass is submerged. This occurs because ice is less dense than seawater, causing most of the iceberg's volume to remain hidden underwater. The world's longest hair, measured at over 18 feet, belongs to a woman from China. This extraordinary feat of natural hair growth requires careful maintenance, as the hair is not only long, but also incredibly heavy. The odds of being born at precisely 12:01 a.m. on January 1st are approximately 1 in 26,026, making it an exceptionally rare event. This moment marks the beginning of a new year with the birth of a new person, creating a unique connection between time and life, often celebrated with media attention. Underwater lakes, also known as brine pools, exist on the ocean floor and defy expectations. These lakes are denser than the surrounding seawater due to their high salt concentration. They often look like lakes, with some even hosting unique life forms adapted to their extreme conditions. The first computer bug wasn't a software issue, it was a real bug. In 1947, engineers at Harvard University found a moth trapped in a relay, causing a malfunction. This incident marked the birth of the term computer bug, and it has since become an integral part of computing terminology. Cats purr for more than just contentment. While purring is commonly associated with happiness, it also serves as a self-healing mechanism. The frequency of a cat's purr, around 25 Hz, promotes the healing of bones and tissues, making purring a vital part of their biological processes, aiding in relaxation and recovery. In Japan, buildings made from recycled paper are an innovative solution to eco-friendly architecture. These structures, often used for temporary pavilions or exhibitions, are treated to be resistant to fire and rain. The world's smallest frog measures under 1 centimeter, living in the rainforests of New Guinea. This tiny creature challenges the limits of size in the animal kingdom, and despite its small stature, it plays an essential role in its ecosystem. Owls are often referred to as a parliament, a term used to describe their collective gatherings. This phrase dates back to medieval times when owls were thought to be wise, and their meetings symbolize governance and decision-making. The donkey's emotional intelligence and ability to form strong social bonds set them apart from other animals. Their capacity to recognize their companions and empathize with the emotional states of others makes them especially endearing and deserving of more appreciation for their affectionate nature and unique personalities. The concept of an endless chocolate bar is an example of mathematical magic where a seemingly finite object gives the illusion of infinite regeneration. Though this works visually in geometric tricks, it is not something that can be replicated in the real world. A white giraffe, a rare creature with a unique genetic condition called Lewism, was discovered in Africa. Unlike albino animals, this giraffe retains pigment in its eyes, but lacks color in its skin. This snow white giraffe is protected by a special tracker to prevent poaching. In Finland, hedgehog robots have been designed to clean parks, demonstrating a fascinating application of technology in environmental conservation. These small robots mimic the shape of hedgehogs and use their sensors to navigate and collect trash, making them an efficient and eco-friendly way to maintain clean public spaces. Early computer memory technology involved magnetic rings through which electrical signals were passed to store data. These tiny magnetic rings were groundbreaking at the time and could be erased by reversing the current. Despite their small size, these rings were incredibly valuable before the advent of microchips, laying the foundation for modern computing. On Neptune, scientists believe it rains diamonds. The planet's extreme pressure and temperatures cause methane in its atmosphere to transform into diamonds, which fall like raindrops. This incredible phenomenon, where precious gems rain from the sky, gives Neptune a luxurious yet fantastical characteristic that seems straight out of science fiction. Italy is home to the highest number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, with 58 locations scattered across the country. From the iconic Roman Colosseum to the serene Amalfi Coast and the breathtaking Dolomite Mountains, Italy offers a rich blend of history, art, and stunning landscapes, making it a must-visit destination for culture and nature lovers alike. Ancient Roman firefighters used advanced tactics that were ahead of their time. Equipped with pumps, buckets, and a well-organized team, they battled fires using strategic methods to minimize damage. These early firefighting techniques laid the groundwork for modern fire safety practices. Giraffes' tongues, which can reach impressive lengths of nearly half a meter, are dark-colored, protecting them from sunburn. Their unique dark-toned tongues enable them to feed for hours under the sun without suffering from skin damage, demonstrating how evolution has equipped them with a natural, practical adaptation for life in the wild. Beefalo is a hybrid animal resulting from the crossbreeding of a cow and a bison. The goal of creating Beefalo was to combine the hardiness and adaptability of bison with the high-quality meat production of cows. This unique hybrid thrives in harsh environments and offers leaner, more flavorful meat compared to traditional beef. The Cuquicura River in Argentina is famous for its periodic fiery geysers, a phenomenon caused by underground methane deposits that ignite when exposed to air. Locals call it the River of Spirits due to its ethereal glow. Scientists are concerned that constant gas emissions might lead to larger natural disasters. The longest earthquake ever recorded occurred in Chile in 1960, lasting an astonishing 10 minutes. This massive seismic event triggered tsunamis that reached Japan's shores and caused significant damage. The event reshaped our understanding of tectonic activity. Dolphins' unihemispheric sleep is the most unique skill you can find in any living being. By allowing half of their brain to sleep while the other stays alert, dolphins can continue swimming and breathing, enabling them to stay safe from predators and other dangers while still getting the rest they need. In 2006, a Filipino fisherman discovered a gigantic 34-kilogram pearl, estimated to be worth $100 million. Unaware of its value, he kept it under his bed as a good luck charm for 10 years. This incredible find is now recognized as one of the largest natural pearls in the world. The colors of hydrangea flowers change according to the pH of soil. Blue hydrangeas grow in acidic soil with a pH of 5.5 or lower. Pink hydrangeas in alkaline soil with a pH of 6.5 or higher. And purple hydrangeas in soil with a pH between 5.5 and 6.5. This unique trait allows gardeners to influence their hydrangea colors. The way fiber works in your body is pretty amazing. It scrapes against the inside of your intestines, triggering a process known as peristalsis. This wave-like muscle motion moves partially digested food along your digestive tract, helping things run smoothly. In 2014, after his daughter Isa complained about slow internet at home, Mukesh Ambani invested $31 billion to improve India's mobile and internet infrastructure. This led to the creation of Reliance Jio, which revolutionized connectivity across the country. When an elephant dies, the pack arranges a small funeral. They pick rocks and surround the body, standing vigil for a while before they move on. It's a heartwarming display of respect and mourning for their fallen member. The smell of vomit comes from butyric acid, and guess what? So does the smell of Parmesan cheese. They share this common compound, creating that distinct aroma. The exoplanet known as J1407b has a ring system 200 times larger than Saturn's. If these rings were around Saturn, they would outshine the moon in our sky, making for quite the cosmic spectacle. Horses are unique in that they cannot vomit. If they ever needed to throw up, they wouldn't be able to. In fact, if they were to attempt it, it could be fatal. Armadillos are fascinating creatures that can carry leprosy, and they can transmit it to humans by just being in close proximity. It's an unusual fact about this armored animal. Old books have that distinct smell we all recognize, and it's a result of the breakdown of organic compounds in the paper. This natural aging process releases chemicals that produce scents like almond, vanilla, and grass. It's a unique aroma that tells the story of the book's age. Older whales no longer have the strength to swim for long periods. If they dive too deep, they risk drowning because they lack the strength to rise to the surface for air. In 2007, a Swiss woman was not able to enter the United States because she had no fingerprints. This rare condition is due to a genetic disorder called adermatoglyphia, making her the only known case of its kind. In 2004, a tennis fan named Jesus Aparicio fell into a coma after a car accident. When he woke up 11 years later in 2015, he was amazed to discover that Roger Federer was still a top player in the tennis world. Babies should never consume honey, as it can cause paralysis in their muscles, leading to floppy baby syndrome. The bacterial spores in honey, once ingested, produce botulinum toxin, which can be fatal for infants. It's known that an estimated 60% of heart attacks are painless, often going unnoticed until it's too late. In flood-prone areas of Bangladesh, farmers have switched from raising chickens to ducks. Ducks can float and swim during floods, making them far more resilient than chickens in such conditions. Hurricanes and cyclones are now given human names. Thanks to meteorologist Clement Raga, in the late 19th century, he started naming them after politicians he disliked, setting a tradition that continues today. Many Boeing 747s still use 3.5-inch floppy disks for critical software updates every 28 days. It may seem outdated, but these old disks are still part of the maintenance process for these massive jets. You can actually die from Alzheimer's due to the brain forgetting how to swallow or breathe properly. It's a tragic aspect of the disease that many don't realize. Coal-fired power plants are known to release more radiation than nuclear plants, which is a surprising and alarming fact about energy production. Some specific plants, like the lodgepole pine and eucalyptus, actually require fire to germinate. The heat or smoke from fire triggers the seed growth, making fire an essential part of their life cycle. At one point in time, all the details of the Manhattan Project were kept in 3 safes, each locked with the code 27. Mathematicians would recognize this number as the Euler number 2.71828, a number with wide importance in calculus. Physicist Richard Feynman cracked into these safes after snooping around the secretary's desk and discovering the number. The fastest animal in the world can be found in the UK. Biologists have clocked the peregrine falcon diving at speeds of over 390 kilometers per hour, making it the fastest animal in the sky during its dive. In Russia, medical professionals treat alcoholism with a unique method. A small capsule is inserted into the skin, designed to cause a severe reaction when alcohol is consumed. Even the tiniest sip of alcohol triggers serious side effects that can only be compared to symptoms of heroin withdrawal. The New England coast is home to a large number of polydactyl cats, meaning they're born with more than the usual number of toes. This trait was considered lucky by sailors, as it was believed that the extra toes helped them hold on during bad weather. Sailors made sure to have 1 or 2 of these cats on board, and when they made port, so did the cats. If the Pope passes away, the Cardinal Camerlengo verifies the death through an ancient ritual. Traditionally, he gently taps the Pope's head with a silver hammer while calling out his baptismal name 3 times. Upon receiving no response, he pronounces the Pope's death. Male giraffes have a rather unique courtship ritual. They continuously headbutt the female in the bladder until she urinates. The male then tastes the urine to determine whether the female is ovulating. If she is, he proceeds with mating. The greatest dive depth accurately measured for any bird is 564 meters by an emperor penguin off eastern Antarctica. That depth is nearly twice the height of the Shard, Europe's tallest building in London. The highest jump on record for any mammal was recorded for a puma, also known as the cougar or mountain lion. It jumped 7 meters straight up from a standstill position, which is nearly 7 times its own body height. During the first 4 decades of the modern Olympic Games, 151 medals were awarded for music, painting, sculpture, literature, and architecture. Baron Pierre de Coubertin, who revived the modern games and founded the International Olympic Committee, considered art an essential part of the competition. M&M's, the famous candy-coated chocolates, were named after their creators, Forrest Mars and Bruce Murray. Forrest Mars was the son of the founder of the Mars Company, and Bruce Murray was the son of the president of Hershey Chocolate. They came up with the idea for M&M's in the 1940s as a way to make a candy that wouldn't melt in soldiers' hands during World War II. Did you know that the iconic cloaks worn by the Night's Watch in Game of Thrones were actually made from IKEA rugs? The production team shaved and dyed the rugs to create the appearance of medieval cloaks. It's a clever reuse of common materials to create an authentic look on screen. In a fascinating 2017, one-year-old man with severe hearing impairment and rapid eye movement disorder was observed using fluent sign language in his sleep. This phenomenon has raised questions about how deeply ingrained skills and habits can manifest even in unconscious states. Alfred Porter Southwick, a dentist and steamboat engineer, is credited with inventing the electric chair as a method of legal execution. His idea came about after he witnessed the electrocution of a person and theorized that electricity could be a more humane and efficient means of capital punishment. Archaeologists uncovered a 5,000-year-old brewery in China, dating back to between 3,400 and 2,900 BC. The site included ancient beer-making tools and underground rooms used in brewing. This discovery highlights the ancient origins of beer and its long-standing importance in various cultures. Penrose tiling is a type of tiling created using a set of 5 different tiles that can fit together in a way that covers a surface without repeating the pattern. It was named after the mathematician and physicist Sir Roger Penrose, who developed it in the 1970s. These tiling patterns have special geometric properties that make them a subject of fascination in mathematics. Vodka was originally used for medicinal purposes centuries ago before it became popular as a social drink. In the past, it was used as a remedy for a variety of ailments, ranging from digestive issues to pain relief. Only later did it evolve into a recreational beverage. No place in England is more than 52 miles away from the sea. This geographic feature makes the country one of the most accessible to coastal waters, contributing to its rich maritime history. The Sims, a game where players control the lives of simulated characters, debuted in 2000. The original concept of the game was more like SimCity, where players designed houses and autonomous characters would then test whether the designs were successful in terms of functionality. The supervisor of the Ouija board company, William Foldy, tragically fell to his death from the roof of a factory that the Ouija board had apparently told him to build. This eerie incident added to the mysterious and supernatural aura surrounding the Ouija board. That's it, 101 mind-blowing facts. Which fact did you like the most? And what kind of facts do you want to see next? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because more exciting videos like this are on the way. Stay safe, take care, and love you all.